testing testing。Lucas Chan hi hello hello。等啲人入嚟先，等啲人入嚟先，跟住冇人入嚟，都做少少清潔，有啲消毒紙巾消毒下個咪先。消毒下個 keyboard 先，啲人話 keyboard 仲污糟過屎塔啊嘛。你嗰個咋？咩你呢個都係啊，好污糟㗎。我 keyboard 乾淨，你幾耐買一次先？你答我呢個問題啊，知你幾乾淨？你幾耐買一次？夠唔夠膽老實回答？幾耐買一次？係一問你幾耐買一次，即刻走咗，即刻拗，你唔敢面對嗰個真相，我搞嗰個 OK。上星期買完用酒精，上星期一個星期先買一次嘅 ，That's not enough。至少都要一日買一次啦。沙華 hello， 每星期都 not good。而家喺非常時期啊，每星期啊已經係屎坑噶啦，變咗。我哋將嗰個衞生標準不斷拉高先，係咪講少少 intro 啦？今日就其實上次咧，我覺得嗰個 MIT Open Course 幾好嘅，不過因為咧有啲我哋 Discord group 嘅朋友啊，就建議不如咧試下 machine learning 啦咁樣，因為又話好啲人，咁不如就睇呢個啦，係咪？定調個木嘴去左上角先，可能下次先至上翻 MIT 咯。可能覺得哇太難啦，不過 machine learning 太難咧，我哋就轉翻 MIT。我哋今日試下真係挑戰少少難度。Yoo-hoo hello， 太渣用 keyboard 就寫到咁犀利，點話口語啊？係咪啊？幾時教寫 QR 租？我咪話你睇嗰啲舊教學，然後將 QR 租張圖掟上去就係咯。你試下先，如果你都唔得嘅，你再問我教你。寫 QR 租我都仲識教，難啲嗰啲人問啲，你唔俾我屎塔嘅估就又啱喎，你啱喎，係喎，有啲 point 喎，你啱，因為啲相對啫嘛，咁點為之乾淨啊？咁呢個稱咁啊，污糟啲啊，乾淨啲咯。念力寫曲，語音輸入寫曲。語音輸入，自從我教咗我老母點樣用語音輸入 WhatsApp 咧，佢就冇再打過字。係，你係咪要見過咩？我都想未冇啊！呢排未有apply 到。我寫緊 React 啊，寫緊 React 啊，我都想快啲揾到啊！你如果夜晚咧瞓唔着，幫我騎個肚啊，就快啲揾到。之前真係見過有個 project 係 VR 寫 Java，VR 寫 Java， 即係點樣 VR 寫 Java？VR 而我認知 VR 係得兩個方法用嘅啫，一係用嚟睇片，一係用嚟打機嘅。即場寫 QR 租，寫一個好嘅 QR 租唔係咁易，我唔識寫。你個 friend 請你做 IT， 我個 friend 打工嘅， 佢唔係開公司啊嘛，佢都係打工仔啊。Q 啦做咁話好啦，而家冇乜人，我而家試下即場寫 Q 啦做，應該唔易寫啊嘛，應該唔難寫啊嘛。刪咗啲曲先，之前開啲 React 嘅 practice 咁啊。CD 確定，開一個咯。Q 啦做。你唔揾份14蚊工做幾多月轉工啊？我會選擇去百佳度執住貨先咯。我揾成哥喂執住貨先啊！我啲 flexible 啲啊嘛，你上咗 full time 咧，想再轉工就好煩噶。同人哋會問你啱啱份工做啲咩啊咁樣，人哋見你14,000蚊，我就開15,000蚊俾你，咁好難搞。你用 VR 嗰兩嚿嘢寫，即係直情買嚿 VR 翻嚟，即係買嚿 hardware 翻嚟寫定係用 React， 我哋用 React 寫，叫下做到未 ？React 我都冇熟，我哋整個 Create React 我哋叫下做。好嘛，其實應該擺喺 React Practice 度嗰個算 KJ 又叫 KJ， 齊人未？齊人我哋就可以開始啦。我不止14,000 programmer 工，14,000話唔係喎，14,000 programmer 工啊真係問水啲喎。I mean 個 salary 問水啲。可能都會嘅，如果有一日我發覺哇真係唔得啦，14,000我都要做住先，咁我應該可能會，但係暫時又未到呢個地步，係咪？我揀擇係咪好揀擇？再講多少少啦，係今日我哋會上呢個免費嘅 course 啊，個 Sally 而家有一個，我唔知佢咪不嬲都免費啦，但我見佢暫時就係 free 嘅，都仲係。咁啊，今日睇下可唔可以上到 linear 因為我唔知現場其實佢會講啲乜春咯，42分鐘，唔知現場會講幾多嘢。expect 做有2萬，萬尾啦，唔好2萬啦，唔好2萬啦，萬尾。因為講真啦，我以前都有做 full time，不過唔係做 program。我好耐之前，睇住而家2020年，我14年左右，14、15年我份工都13,000蚊啦，係咪？未計通脹喎。睇睇先，收埋呢個 folder 先，收埋個 folder 先。文件。差唔多嘛，我見有9條而家差唔多，即係我 channel 平時都係咁上下人數。跟住有個朋友成日都叫我寫 Q 下做，我試下得唔得？有咩功能㗎？你個 Q 啦租要我講下，淨係 Q 啦租多款喎，即係譬如幾多秒之後彈出嚟啊咁樣。做 program 啲人係咪會問你 How do you turn this on？ 即係點解？即係玩 AOE 啊？應該唔關事㗎。我 Q 啦租有咩功能啊？睇下先。npm start， 唔係我入咗 folder 先。我見上我啲教學咧都係乜清咧都 delete 晒佢嘅，delete 晒咧第一步，之後就開多個 index.js 咁就 咪 npm start go 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 go。換翻去 HTML 先。咁啊，因為佢已經有個 root 我將個 Q 組擺個 root 度。CSS 啊咩 JS 可以擺個 JS 嘅 JS 一個 JS 整夠，掟落個 root 度。index 多 JS 乜都唔好搞啦 ，import。import React from 個 React 啦，一開頭 import 兩嚿嘢先啦。import 幫個 React DOM 啦 ，from React DOM 啦。大街，跟住有啲咩㗎？我都唔記得。cons 嘛，同埋 cons app 咁啊，跟住最尾就 render 咗佢啦。係咪要整埋個電流急急棒？呢個電流急急棒啊！我今日冇用咁多時間整 QR 租咯，我又好求其掟 QR 租落去網就算咯。整埋個 scare maze 啦，係咪睇緊咩叫雪糕仔啊？雪糕我就係識富豪雪糕，咩叫雪糕仔啊？因為我尋晚瞓咗2個鐘啊，所以我要靠飲呢個可樂提神啊，頂唔順。如果直播你見我仆低瞓着咗咧，見我仆低瞓着咗，你自己熄咗就得啦。死下突然間仆，樓主成個熄咗機啊，唔使嚟我，就可以走嘅，大家自行走。function 寫塊 return， 寫緊 index， 係啊，乜都冇嘅，乜都冇啊，就 return something 啦，我 return 個 QR 租落去先啦。最尾係咩啊？React DOM render 應該係 render 落邊度先啊嘛 ？render 落 wood 度先定點啊？唔係喎，後邊先係document selector 噶嘛，都係咁樣最尾。呢個 render 係咩啊？有人答到 render 係 render 啲乜嘢？有下標題我 fail to compile， 你未寫完啊，成個字節爭啲嘢。睇下答案先。render 個 app，OK， 我呢上嗰叫 app 啊嘛 ，app，OK， 等唔切嚟啊 ！return 就掟 QR 租落去咁啊，算噶咯，最多幫你加多個倒數啊，開出去乜都冇，跟住5秒就掟個 QR 租出嚟。有乜 download 啊 QR 租 .gif 有冇啲用噶？冇聲喎，但係 QR 租柳州酷喎。哦 ，thank you，thanks。未有嘢 return 啊，因為我上呢個中間未打，所以都仲未有嘢睇。打 Jeff the Q 啦。要 full screen 跟住有鬼叫啊！咁啊，但係 GIF 冇聲嘅喎，我要再睇先啊！哇，呢隻唔係 QR 租啊，屌呢隻恐怖好多啊！喂，頂 我望到覺得好不安咯。屌喂，屌啦，恐怖喂，屌頂上，仆街，喂好難心理壓力喎，可以縮細啲啊，縮細啲先得，唔想望到啊！複製圖片網址 ，GIF 可唔可以當佢 image 咁樣嘅咧？吓？得唔得㗎？可唔可以當 image 啊？GIF 可以啊，可以 SRC OK。Thanks。嗱，咁而家有個應該有冇？哇！屌真係有啊 ！full screen 就我諗要再較大細 size 啊，但係冇聲嘅而家應該。我熄咗啲音樂先。我點解要咁樣對我自己咧？睇嚟今日精神狀態都唔係好穩定。刪咗音樂先。嗱，咁而家起碼嗱個網咧都有啲嘢彈出嚟啦。不過爭啲聲啫。咁啲聲就真係唔好嘅，點教啊嘛？睇睇先，會嘅刪疏晒點啊？唉，不如刪 file。呢個直情係開刪咗，你自動 auto play 咪易好多，有埋 stays 添，有 event listen 啊，安爾筆 HTML5 啊，真係唔記得，我以前寫過，但係而家唔記得咗，因為咁啦，唔好要聲啦，我諗淨係個畫面都嚇撚死佢噶啦，我哋加個 click event 啦，即係空白嘅，但係 click 咧就突然間彈出嚟啦，已經嚇撚死佢噶啦。click event 係咪可以就咁打先 ？OK， 我哋就咁add event listen 都嚇撚死佢啦，係咪先？冇聲唔得啊 ！Audio source auto play， 哦 ，thank you， 正，唔該晒。咁啊，播聲先咯，係做兩樣嘢。你要搵個 source 俾我喎，你 send 個 source 出嚟。你以前 QR 租都有，想問點樣搞張圖 show full screen？ 我諗係呢度加個 height 加個 width 咁樣咯。加喺 style 度加 height width 應該可以拉盡佢。add event 啊，我冇啊，諗住咧入嚟空白嘅。咁樣可能嗰陣多手一 click 先彈出嚟嘛，因為有可能咧你撳條 link 咧，即係嗰個人未必 focus， 即係對眼未必 focus 望住啊嘛，即係我點樣迷宮嗰個咁得人驚咧，就係一條咧好集中咁望住，但係如果你入去咧係白畫面，啲人就好奇咩嚟講，可能就 click 兩 click 跟住哇咁彈出嚟，嗰下就好勁，點睇？首先而家要刪 source， 跟住咧就睇先。如果唔 click 咧，仲簡單添。唔 click 我就咁算，唔 click 就咁擺喺度。我哋咁擺喺度。document event listener 成個 click 咁啊。依家成個唔使 QID， 咁係咪任何一點已經係噶啦？成個 document 又好似係喎。好齊喎，你有啲 point，thank you。 寫晒成個 document， 跟住就已經可以 finish 啦。我哋跟住 pass 個 function 係啦 ，pass 個 function， 跟住我哋哎呀〜咁啊，我將個 audio 都擺埋落嚟咯。係，唔該。呢度玩少少 hook 嘅 set state。唔識哭嘅喎，未學到喎。可唔可以將佢轉 class？ 將佢轉 class 先啦。將佢轉 class 會唔會易啲啊？哭撚咗，好難喎！哭，啲人話好撚難嘅喎。你要雖然function 可以用到 state， 但係好撚難嘅，所以未搞掂。你等一陣開啲冷氣先，話好熱啊！又，我今日租啲片咩？跟住 loop auto play， 等佢自己 loop 條片 auto play 又唔使煩聲問題，可以播片。咁要俾條片我先得喎，我冇片鏈喎，都得嘅。咁有玩條片有片先。和你code係變咗 Q 啦租啊！冇錯，呢個台咧出牌係唔跟常理嘅。揾到喺邊啊？呢度啊？冇喎，喺邊度啊？你鋪晒 group 啊？鋪晒 group 啊？我唔會揾嘅，揾親你自己嚇自己一次噶咯，屌有彈出嚟。 有冇揾到？揾唔到，我哋就轉一轉場先啦。我哋睇翻啲冇刺激嘅，亦都係今日主題。Welcome to ML 呢1分鐘我唔睇啦。點樣用呢個其實 Coursera 我都冇熟。Reading 要睇 reading 先。我哋好快睇一次啊。Guideline，好推介佢哋入 study group 喎。佢話我哋呢度都叫 study group 啦。submit 呢啲 review exercise 冇乜特別啦。Scenario code to delete，why delete？ 呢啲又唔關事噶嘛？呢個唔關事嘅應該。Mine is complete。哈哈哈 ，Coursera 唔係 OK 咩？你話你都係睇 Coursera 啫喎。Go to next item。呢啲佢係咪教你咩啊 ？How to subset as？ 已經去到呢度已經唔明啦。佢問你 How to subset matrix to eliminate the intercept， 已經唔知佢講乜啦。How to set column 1 of matrix to 0？ 已經唔知佢講咩啦。PM 就叫租嘅片俾你。好，等等，我哋睇下先。又要時候刪你歌佢。
Welcome to this free online course on machine learning.
Welcome to this free
is one of the
online
most
course.
exciting recent technologies, and in this course, you learn about the state of the art and also gain practice.
哇！佢呢度有埋字幕喎，咁正嘅。
You probably use
我
a algorithm
有簡體啊，
today without knowing it.
殘
Every time you use
體
a。web search engine like Google or Bing to search the internet, one of the reasons that works so well is because a learning algorithm.
如果你哋聽唔明英文咧，我建議你偷偷地自己睇殘體就得。我扮睇唔到。
Every time you use Facebook or Apple's photo tagging application and it recognizes your friends' photos, that's also machine learning.
教大聲啲先。
Every time you read your email and your spam filter saves you. The only way to do these things was to have a machine learn to do it by itself.
呢啲冇乜特別啦，係
The growth of
嘛
the web and the growth of automation. Of natural language processing or computer vision. These are the fields of AI pertaining to understanding language or understanding images.
skip 咗，
Most
可以
of
skip 啦，
natural
冇乜特
language
別。
processing, most of computer vision today is applied machine learning. Learning
Intro
algorithms are also widely used for self-customizing programs.
Welcome 呢啲應該都 What is machine learning？ 可能類似呢啲咁樣啦，係嘛？
What is machine learning?
佢把
In
聲
this
好眼
video,
瞓喎，
we'll
聽到
try
啊
to define what it is and also try to give you a sense of when you want to use
佢
machine
把聲好似未瞓醒咁嘅。
Even among machine learning practitioners, there isn't a well-accepted definition of what is and what isn't machine learning. But let me show you a couple of examples of the ways that people have tried to define it. Here's the definition of what is machine learning that is due to...
What is machine
He
learning？
defined machine learning as the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed.
Thomas。
Samuel's claim to fame was that back in the 1950s, he wrote a checkers playing program. And the amazing thing about this checkers playing program was that Arthur Samuel himself wasn't a very good checkers player. But what he did was he had the program play tens of thousands of games against itself. And by watching what sorts of board positions tended to lead to wins and what sort of board positions tended to lead to losses, the checkers playing program learned over time what are good board positions and what are bad board positions, and eventually learned to play checkers better than Arthur Samuel himself was able to. This was a remarkable result. Arthur Samuel himself turned out not to be a very good checkers player, but because a computer has the patience to play tens of thousands of games against itself, no human has the patience to play that many games. By doing this, the computer was able to get so much checkers playing experience that it eventually became a better checkers player than Arthur Samuel himself. This is a somewhat informal definition and an older one. Here's a slightly more recent definition.
啲舊definition 就係嘛？睇下有冇理解冇錯啊。Ability to learn without being explicitly programmed， 即係比如我哋平時寫網站嗰啲好 straightforward 嘅，譬如 click event 嗰啲咪好 explicitly programmed 噶嘛，係咪？講到明 你要咁做，佢就同你咁做噶嘛。但 machine learning 咧就係唔需要咁樣咧，佢都可以有個 ability to learn， 因為舊嘅 definition 我哋而家睇下新嘅 definition 係咩咧。
By Tom Mitchell, who's a friend out in Carnegie
Tom
Mellon.
Mitchell
So Tom defines machine learning by saying that a well-posed learning problem is defined as follows. He says a computer program is said to learn from experience E with respect to some task T and some performance measure P if its performance on T as measured by P improves with experience E.
哇
I actually think he came up with this definition just to make it rhyme. For the checkers playing examples, the experience E would be the experience of having the program play tens of thousands of games against itself. The task T would be the task of playing checkers, and the performance measure P would be the probability that it wins the next game of checkers against some new opponent. Throughout these videos, besides me trying to teach you stuff, I'll occasionally ask you a
問好 PE 係啦，佢 P 係睇一次先。佢就話98年嗰個佢又同意多啲嘅。E 個應該係 stand for experience 啦 ，T 就係 task 啦 ，P 就係個 performance 啫嘛。佢有啲 variable 嘅，但係佢冇講點樣計嘅佢。係咪？即係可能會講條 formula。
performance measure P would be the probability that it wins the next game of checkers against some new opponent. Throughout these videos, besides me trying to teach you stuff, I'll occasionally ask you a question to make sure
佢
you
樣擺正
understand
喺
the
中
content.
間，擋住。
Here's one. On top is a definition of machine learning by Tom Mitchell.
答問題啦，
Let's
係
say
咪？
your email program watches which emails you do or do not flag as spam. So in an email client like this, you might click this spam button
啲
to
垃圾
report some
郵件啊，
emails as spam, but not other emails. And based on which emails you mark as spam, say your email program learns better how to filter spam email.
Sorry.
What is the task T in this setting? In a few seconds, the video will pause, and when it does so,
嗱，我哋一齊答
use
啦。
your mouse to select one of these 4 radio buttons to let me know which of these 4 you think is the right answer to this question.
好，而家停咗啦，佢自己停係嘛 ？OK， 停咗。黃色粒點先係咩？黃色粒點啊？邊？黃色粒點，我係 miss 咗啲嘢。好，你哋可以諗一諗呢條問題先。我都未認真睇嘅問題，可以放大啲哦。越放越細。好，睇下先，理解下先。有個 computer program 就係 learn from E with respect 好巧 with respect to some task T and some performance measure P。Suppose 或者佢 based on 呢個 definition 咧 ，suppose 有一個 email 軟件睇住你個 email do or do not mark as spam and based on that learn how to better filter spam. What is the task T in this setting? Task T 係咩咧 ？A 好似百萬富翁啲 A classify email as spam or not， 即係睇下佢係垃圾定係唔垃圾 check 佢分類。佢做咗分類是否垃圾郵件。B 睇你個 label，watching you label 睇住你，即係個 user mark 嗰個 email 係垃圾郵件定係唔係垃圾郵件。C the number or fraction of email correctly specify 就話係個數量嘅啫，即係睇個數量去正確地 classify。呢個我覺得唔係好關事，呢個應該係 P 嚟嘅 performance。D none of the above. This is not a machine learning algorithm。咁樣問得 D 咧，我覺得應該唔係嘅，應該唔係 D 嘅。我覺得係應該係都似啲嘢㗎。A 或者 B 都有機會嘅。B 就 watching you， 我覺得似係個 measure， 或者係一啲我都唔知點講啊 TPE 都唔似喎。A 沙華話 A， 我都覺得似係 A。Chris C 啊咩啊？雖然好想跟住一齊上，但完全冇 CS 背景跟唔到，所以我 Python 或者 RD 入手。我都冇 CS 背景啊，我都唔知跟唔跟到，試下先啊咋，可以一齊上冇乜所謂。 想學 Python 點入手啊？我學過少少 Python 嘅，我覺得可以。你你諗一個你想寫嘅嘢先啦，係啊，睇下 Python 寫唔寫到。我覺得由 project 入手，有啲小嘅 project 入手。比如我 YouTube 第一條片咪話點樣賣口罩嘅，望住啲價格嘅。即係我覺得你可以諗一啲小型嘅 project， 跟住睇下點樣用 Python 去做到呢樣嘢咯。咁樣學嘅話會快啲，同埋有心機啲。我覺得可以好似 multiple answer， 可以 multiple 啊。咁我諗一諗先。嗱 D 我一定 skip 咗佢噶。Numbers 我都覺得唔係嘅。Numbers 應該係似一個performance measure 嘅感覺嘅。睇住你 label email spam， 可以 multiple， 我兩個都似喎。第一我覺得幾肯定噶，第一個係好肯定噶。但係佢 suppose 寫個 program watch which email you do or do not mark， 佢講到明佢 purpose 係呢個咯。Watching you label， 佢一定要睇你點樣 label 佢先至可以學到噶嘛，應該係咪啊？佢 base on你點樣分類，跟住佢就抄你去 learn 啊嘛。所以呢個應該都係佢嘅 task。如果可以 multiple 嘅話，我哋一齊 A B 好嘛？可以 multiple Thomas B， 咁點解 A 唔係咧 ？A 係咪咧？你覺得淨係 B 啫？佢最終目的都要 classify 個 email 係 yes or no 嘅，我覺得即係大頭盔，我覺得係嘛？佢 learns how to better filter 啊嘛，即係佢其實最終目的佢都要識分咯。Yahoo 就最快入手，我就而家立即寫個 hello， 或者寫 hello world 好唔係話唔好，不過我覺得寫完冇咩成功感咯，所以就會冇乜心機學咯。即係寫就寫到啊，我知唔寫，但係可以 so what 咁樣，即係冇咩滿足感啊咁啊。我哋講 submit 啦嘛，係 submit。寫 Q 啦組，又寫 Q 啦組，究竟每次要寫幾多次 Q 啦組？我哋 submit 啦，睇下。我剔咗 A 喎，陣時咧，我唔係揀咗 B 嘅咩？陣時咧 is correct。佢話即係呢個唔啱喎，淨係 A 先啱喎。點解有冇答啊 ？Watching you label 並唔係 task 喎，唔係 T。我哋之後睇點解，我哋睇解釋 solution， 我哋睇 solution。
So hopefully you got that this is the right answer. Classifying emails is a task.
我希望你答啱啦。
In fact, this definition defines a task T, a performance measure P, and this experience E. And so watching you label emails as spam or not spam, this would be the experience E. And the fraction of emails correctly classified, that might be our performance measure.
原來 E 啊。
And so our task performance on the top.
點解係 E 嘅？頭先 label email 就係 E。Learn from experience。learn from experience， 即係佢 learn from experience 係 learn from 睇住你 label 就為之 learn from。OK。
About systems performance on the task T, on the performance measure P will improve after the experience E.
即係學呢
This course I hope to teach you about various different types of learning algorithms. There are several different types of learning algorithms. The main two types are what we call supervised learning and unsupervised learning. I'll define what these terms mean more in the next couple videos, but it turns out that in supervised learning, the idea is we're going to teach the computer how to do something, whereas in unsupervised learning, we're going to let it learn by itself.
即係 supervise 佢好簡單講就會教個電腦點樣 learn。unsupervise 就完全唔教喎，咁神奇，唔完全唔教，等佢自己學啊，咁得人驚嘅咩？
Don't worry if these two terms don't make sense yet. In the next two videos, I'm going to say exactly what these.
一陣間再解釋下佢話。
You might also hear other buzz terms such as reinforcement learning and recommender systems. These are other types of machine learning algorithms that we'll talk about later. But the two most used types of learning algorithms are probably supervised learning and unsupervised learning. And I'll define them in the next two videos. And we'll spend most of this class talking about these two types of learning algorithms. It turns out one of the other things we'll spend a lot of time on in this class is practical advice for applying learning algorithms. This is something that I feel pretty strongly about, and it's actually something that I don't know if any other university teaches. Teaching about learning algorithms is like giving a set of tools, and equally important or more important than giving you the tools is to teach you how to apply these tools. I like to make an analogy to learning to become a carpenter. Imagine that someone is teaching you how to be a carpenter, and they say, here's a hammer, here's a screwdriver, here's a saw, good luck. Well, that's no good, right? You have all these tools, but the more important thing is to learn how to use these tools properly. There's a huge difference between people that know how to use these machine learning algorithms versus people that don't know how to use these tools well. Here in Silicon Valley, when I live, when I go visit different companies, even at the top Silicon Valley companies, very often I see people trying to apply machine learning algorithms to some problem, and sometimes they'll have been going at it for 6 months. But sometimes when I look at what they're doing, I say, you know, I could have told them, like, gee, I could have told you 6 months ago that you should be taking a learning algorithm and applying it in, like, this slightly modified way, and your chance of success would have been much higher.
即係大家上呢個 course 其實唔使咁大力，佢都話見過啲大公司係咪 Ivy League 嘅 student 啊嘅 graduate 係咪 Ivy League 啊？定唔知都會啊，都係 apply 得唔係咁好啊，係嘛 ？Top Silicon Valley company 係嘛？矽谷最 top 嘅 company 都見到人咧 apply machine learning 嘅 algorithm 都會犯錯，所以大家咧唔需要咁大力。Ivy League 大過 Ivy League 啊 ，I 大啊有料 I 大 ，I 大啲資源係唔錯嘅。
So what we're going to do in this class is actually spend a lot of time talking about how we're actually trying to develop a machine learning system, how to make those best practices types.
好，佢呢度都係啲 intro 啦，我哋可以 skip 嘅應該。係啊，都係勉勵下你，好多同學係咪 top company 都會錯啊，即係覺得勉勵下你嘅啫。跟住有啲 reading 喎，係咪即係叫做一個 revision 咁樣？咩叫 machine learning 咧？呢個 definition 都俾咗你㗎啦。佢應該係 prefer 個新啲嗰個啦，即係 Tom Mitchell 呢個啦。咁就例子 playing checker， 咩叫 checker？ 死啦！咩叫 playing checker？ 哦，國際象棋啊嘛 ，checker 係。OK， 死啦！我唔識玩呢度。不過好似好多人學 ML 都係捉棋。sorry， 攞捉棋嚟學啊！大講究真嘅都有，18區都係 I 畢業生，係啊，好多㗎。experience of playing many games of checker。E 就係個好多場玩呢個棋嘅經驗。T 就係 the task of playing checker， 就係玩。The task of the experience of OK P 嘅 probability the program will win the next game。 P 就係個機會率 of 個 program 可以勝出嗰個棋。In general 咧 any machine learning program can be assigned to one or two broad classification。 一係咧就係 supervised 或者 unsupervised 嘅，不過佢都未詳細講嘅。一陣間會講嘅，總之有呢兩隻啦，一隻你又教佢，一隻就係冇教佢都自己學咁樣。睇埋呢個 reading 有片睇啦。How to use discussion forum 嚇？呢個我哋應該唔會用 discussion forum 噶啦。我哋 go to next item。OK， 又睇片。In
this video, I'm going to define what is probably the most common type of machine learning problem, which is supervised learning. I'll define supervised learning more formally later.But it's probably best to explain or start with an example of what it is, and we'll do the formal definition later.
想搞清啲啊！
Let's say you want to predict housing prices. A while back, a student collected data sets from the city of Portland, Oregon. And let's say you plot the data set and it looks like this. Here on the horizontal axis, the size of different houses in square feet, and on the vertical axis, the prices of different houses in thousands of dollars. So, given this data, let's say you have a friend who owns a house that is, say, 750 square feet, and they're hoping to sell the house, and they want to know how much they can get for the house. So, how can a learning algorithm help you? One thing a learning algorithm might be able to do is put a straight line through the data, or so fit a straight line to the data, and based on that, it looks like maybe their house can be sold for maybe about $150,000. But maybe this isn't the only learning algorithm you can use, and there might be a better one. Frank?
有呢個佢未講個 better one 之前講一講，佢應該係啲最低 B 嘅方法啦。predict 就係有啲 plot 晒所有 data， 跟住咧畫個趨勢線，跟住又塞翻你嗰個自己嘅 case 就對翻大概係幾多咁樣叫為之 predict。呢啲好似中小學都有啲類似咁樣嚇，你所謂嘅 prediction。佢而家講個 beta 嘅。
Example, instead of fitting a straight line to the data, we might decide that it's better to fit a quadratic function or a second-order polynomial to this data. And if you do that and make a prediction here, then it looks like, well, maybe they can sell the house for closer to $200,000. One of the things we'll talk about later is how to choose and how to decide, do you want to fit a straight line to the data, or do you want to fit a quadratic function to the data? And there's no fair picking whichever one gives your friend the better house to sell. But each of these would be a fine example of a learning algorithm. So this is an example of a supervised learning algorithm. And the term supervised learning refers to the fact that we gave the algorithm a data set in which the quote right answers were given. That is, we gave it a data set of houses in which for every example in this data set, we told it what is the right price, or what was the actual price that house sold for. And the task of the algorithm was to just produce more of these right answers, such as for this new house, that your friend may be trying to sell. To define a bit more terminology, this is also called a regression problem. And by regression problem, I mean we're trying to predict a continuous valued output, namely the price. So technically, I guess prices can be rounded off to the nearest cent, so maybe prices are actually discrete value. But usually we think of the price of a house as a row number, or as a scalar value, as a continuous value number. And the term regression refers to the fact that we're trying to predict this sort of a continuous values attribute. Here's another supervised learning examples.
做一點點點啊，裝刀啊，點點點木來㗎嘛，係咪 Ivy 啊講緊呢個？佢啱啱佢話呢個 house price prediction 係一個 example of supervised learning。right answer given， 我而家都唔係好掌握到究竟 right answer given 即係咩意思，即係代表有實際 data 俾到出嚟 right answer given 呢個我其實唔係好明，我睇埋 unsupervised 可能先會明啲。跟住就話呢個係咩 regression。就 predict continuous value output price， 有啲 abstract， 我覺得我要睇埋之後嗰個 unsupervised 咯。
Here's another supervised learning example.
我呢個都係 supervised 嘅。
Some friends and I were actually working on this earlier.
乳癌啊咁就。
Let's say you want to look at medical records and try to predict if a breast cancer is malignant or benign. If someone discovers a breast tumor, a lump in their breast, a malignant tumor is a tumor that is harmful and dangerous, and a benign tumor is a tumor that's harmless. So obviously people care a lot about this. Let's say you collect a data set, and suppose in your data set you have on your horizontal axis the size of the tumor, and on the vertical axis I'm going to plot 1 or 0, yes or no, whether or not these are examples of tumors we've seen before are malignant, which is 1, or 0, or not malignant, or benign. So let's say your data set looks like this, where we saw a tumor of this size that turned out to be benign, one of this size, one of this size, and so on. And sadly, we also saw a few malignant tumors, so one of that size, one of that size, one of that size, and so on. So in this example, I have 5 examples of benign tumors shown down here, and 5 examples of malignant tumors shown with a vertical axis value of 1. And let's say you have a friend who tragically has a breast tumor, and let's say her breast tumor size is maybe somewhere around this value. The machine learning question is, can you estimate what is the probability, what is the chance that the tumor is malignant versus benign? To introduce a bit more terminology, this is an example of a classification problem. The term classification refers to the fact that here we're trying to predict a discrete valued output, 0 or 1, malignant, benign.
即係如果佢呢個 discrete value 就即係一係零一係一，即係好確實嘅 answer。但係頭先嗰個 value continuous 嗰個就係 continuous value 就 price，OK，即係可能 around 呢啲位，但係佢答唔到你係呢個or呢個咁樣，佢都係一個 continuous， 可能150至200K 大概咁樣一個 range 咁樣 ，OK。
So you collect the data of this malignant. And it turns out that in classification problems, sometimes you can have more than 2 values for the 2 possible values for the output. As a concrete example, maybe there are 3 types of breast cancers, and so you may try to predict a discrete value output 0, 1, 2, or 3, where 0 may mean benign tumor, so no cancer, and 1 may mean type 1 cancer, there are 3 types of cancer, whatever type 1 means. And 2 may mean the second type
即係
of
都
cancer,
係有限
3 may mean the third type of
嘅
cancer.
classification，
And this would also
俾
be
盡
a
可能4個
classification
5個
problem
咁
because
樣
there's sort of
揀
a
一個。
discrete value set of outputs corresponding to no cancer or cancer type 1 or cancer type 2 or
係咪咁
cancer
啊？
type 3. In classification problems, there is another way to
Logistic
plot this
regression.
data.
我就
Let me show you what I
先。
mean. I'm going to use a slightly different set of symbols to plot this data. So if tumor size is going to be the attribute that I'm going to use to predict malignancy or benignness, I can also draw my data like this. I'm going to use different symbols to denote my benign and malignant or my negative and positive examples. So instead of drawing crosses, I'm now going to draw O's for the benign tumors, like so. And I'm going to keep using X's to denote my malignant.
X 就係惡性嘅。
Okay, I hope this figure makes sense. All I did was I took my data set on top and I just mapped it down to this real line like so, and started to use different symbols, circles and crosses, to denote malignant versus benign examples.
另一個表達嘅
Now,
方式係
in this example, we use only one feature or one attribute, namely the tumor size, in order to predict whether tumor is malignant or benign. In other machine learning problems, we may have more than one feature or more than one attribute. Here's an example. Let's say that instead of just knowing the tumor size, we know both the age of the patient and the tumor size. In that case, maybe your data set would look like this, where I may have a set of patients with those ages and that tumor size, look like this, and a different set of patients that look a little different, whose tumors turn out to be malignant, as denoted by the crosses. So let's say you have a friend who tragically has a tumor, and maybe their tumor size and age falls around there. So given a data set like this, what the learning algorithm may do is fit a straight line to the data to try to separate out the malignant tumors from the benign ones. And so the learning algorithm may decide to fit a straight line like that to separate out the 2 classes of tumors. And, with this, hopefully we can decide that your friend's tumor is more likely, so if it was over there, that hopefully the learning algorithm will say that your friend's tumor falls on this benign side and is therefore more likely to be benign than malignant. In this example, we had 2 features, namely the age of the patient and the size of the tumor. In other machine learning problems, we will often have more features. And my friends that work on this problem, they actually use other features like these, which is clump thickness of the breast tumor, uniformity of cell size of the tumor, uniformity of cell shape of the tumor, and so on. And
呢啲應該都係擺屙嘢嚟㗎，呢啲講緊 tumor 啫。佢講緊其他 feature 先唔一定 age 啊 tumor size 嗰啲。
as well. And it turns out one of the most interesting learning algorithms that we'll see in this class is a learning algorithm that can deal with not just 2 or 3 or 5 features, but an infinite number of features.
Infinite 好撚
On
多
this
features。
slide, I've listed a total of 5 different features, right? 2 on the axis and 3 more up here. But it turns out that for some learning problems, what you really want is not to use like 3 or 5 features, but instead you want to use an infinite number of features, an infinite number of attributes, so that your learning algorithm has lots of attributes or features or cues with which to make those predictions. So how do you deal with an infinite number?
即係我估到少少，佢係咪想講 infinite number 就要用 unsupervised 嘅方法啦？係嘛？我估計佢應該想講呢樣嘢。啱啱見到Chan Donald 啱啱睇緊書冇答你。我開 Python Joy Skylearn 玩係學 Python 係嘛意思啊？係估唔估得中先？
But it turns out that when we talk about an algorithm called the support vector machine, there'll be a neat mathematical trick that will allow the computer to deal with an infinite number of features. Imagine that I didn't just write down, 2 features here and 3 features on the right, but imagine that I wrote down an infinitely long list. I just kept writing more and more and more features, like an infinitely long list of features. Turns out we'll be able to come up with an algorithm that can deal with
ML package 啊，未玩過啊！我而家啱啱開始學，唔識啊先，可能遲啲有機會咯，開嚟玩下。
So just to recap, in this class we'll talk about supervised learning, and the idea is that in supervised learning, in every example in our data set, we are told what is the quote correct answer that we would have quite liked to predict on that example, such as the price of the house or whether a tumor is malignant or benign. We also talked about the regression problem, and by regression, that means that our goal is to predict a continuous valued output. And we talked about the classification problem, where the goal is to predict a discrete valued output. Just a quick wrap-up question. Suppose you're running a company and you want to develop learning algorithms to address each of 2 problems. In the first problem, you have a large inventory of identical. So imagine that you have thousands of copies of some identical item to sell. You want to predict how many of these items you sell over the next 3 months. In the second problem, problem 2, you have lots of users and you want to write software to examine each individual of your customers' accounts, so each one of your customers' accounts, and for each account, decide whether or not the account has been hacked or compromised. So, for each of these problems, should they be treated as a classification problem or as a regression problem? When the video pauses, please use your mouse to select whichever.
好，又嚟啦，大家一齊答啦。睇下先問題先，你喐咩 running 即係開咗管理緊，即係營運緊間公司啦。想 develop 一個 learning algorithms to address each of 2 problems。第一個問題，你有一個好大嘅倉庫，inventory 即係嗰啲叫咩啊？貨存倉啊，唔知中文叫咩 ？inventory 啊，我知好多貨同一款係咪啊？同一款貨有好撚多定咩啊 ？identical items 唔知佢講乜。You want to predict how many of these items will sell over the next 3 months。即係總之你有好多貨係嘛？想知幾時會 sell 晒？係啊 ，sell 定係 in the next 3 months 都講咩？第二個問題 ，You would like software to examine individual customer accounts。要遠嘅 examine individual customer account。And for each account, decide if it has been hacked 或者 compromised， 即係睇佢有冇被 hack。點 check 啊？咁奇怪嘅。Should you treat this as classification or an regression problem？ How many 咧就好明顯係咩㗎啦？我覺得 regression 㗎啦，係咪？你貨存你一定唔會話一係賣晒，佢都講到明好多啦，係嘛？ 冇理由，即係冇理由一係賣晒一係未賣晒噶嘛，即係有機會賣剩幾多同埋賣剩好多咁樣噶嘛。所以 problem one 應該就係 regression 嘅。problem two 咧就似係classification， 因為得兩個選擇啫嘛。佢而家一係 header， 一係 compromised， 係嘛？呢題好拉到信心。drama 拍定手先㗎呢題，係嘛？等先，咩 B for banana，C 啊 B 咩？睇大鑊。supervised learning 同 unsupervised learning 其實好簡單，但係咧細分有好多唔同 algorithm。Donald 就話好似好易，但係其實細分咧就好多，係啦，再深入就好多 algorithm。難唔難嘅？如果再細分嘅話，因為其實我都有個質疑就係，咦？究竟我去到邊個位會收皮？哇，唔得啊！我聽唔明啊，睇唔到落去啦咁樣。今次會唔會繼續？咩繼續啊？即係咩叫繼續啊？又拍定手先，一定係噶。C 啊嘛 B 咩？你改唔改啊？沙啊 ？Problem one 應該係 regression 嘅喎。俾你咁樣講一講下窒我添。應該係 C， 我哋答啦 C。係嘛？我唔改咯。決戰啦，決戰。琴日耶！我啱咗啦，啱咗。睇下個題解咯，睇下題解先。
So hopefully you got that this is the answer. For problem one, I would treat this as a regression problem because if I have thousands of items, well, I would probably just treat this as a real value, as a continuous value, and treat therefore the number of items I sell as a continuous value. And for the second problem, I would treat that as a classification problem because I might say set the value I want to predict to be 0 to denote the account has not been hacked, and set the value 1 to denote an account that has been hacked into. So just like breast cancers, right? 0 or benign, 1 is malignant. So I might set this to be 0 or 1 depending on whether it's been hacked, and have an algorithm try to predict each one of these two discrete values. And because that's a small number of discrete values, I would therefore treat it as a classification problem.
佢啲錄音真係好差咯，佢連嗰啲揭字聲都俾我聽埋。
So that's it for supervised learning. And in the next video, I'll talk
好
about
supervised learning 去到呢度啦。
which is the
Sarah 快，哎呀，即係你要再專心啲聽多次啦。嚟緊呢個 session 要專心啲，如果唔係咧就會錯噶。咁我話咩俾錢係咪嘛？唔好嚇我 ，purchase certificate 先俾錢啫。我哋唔需要 cert 嘅，我哋咧學下嘢啫。啲 cert 唔 cert 冇乜所謂啦。好，睇一睇啲 summary 啦。Last minute 仲有1分鐘啊，我哋睇呢個 supervised learning 咧，就係我哋會 given 即係俾一啲 data set 我哋啦，同埋已經知道我哋個 output 會係大概點嘅樣嘅。咁有個 idea 咧，個 relationship between the input and output。Having the idea that there is a relation between， OK， 即係已經有 idea between 個 input 同 output 噶啦。可以 classify 到 regression 同埋 classification problem 啦，即係 supervise 再分呢兩種啦。暫時佢話 regression 咧，咁就 predict 就 continuous 嘅，classification 咧就 discrete output 嘅。OK，trying to map input variable to discrete categories。Example one， 係咯，都講過啦，譬如地產嗰啲啊。啲價就好浮動噶嘛，係嘛？話咩業主劈價20萬咁樣，但係佢就唔會一係免費，一係勁貴咁樣，佢都有個 continuous 咁樣。跟住呢啲都係例子冇乜特別好，呢啲冇乜特別再去啦，我哋再睇睇啦。最難係睇先。麥當勞就最難係 turn parameters to 去 improve performance 啊。睇我哋應該仲有啲時間先去到嗰度，希望唔好嚇親，係嘛？棘住咗 turn param improve performance。JetBrains 都有教書網，明？我哋 暫停1分鐘，我哋睇睇咩叫 JetBrains 先，未去過新嘢，係一個 Jet 嘅軟體開發公司喎。Jet 即係唔知點解咧，一見到啲東歐國家就覺得佢哋啲 programmer 好勁，你哋有冇咁嘅感覺？一見到啲俄佬就覺得哇，呢個 programmer 應該好有料，你哋有冇啲咁嘅感覺？係嘛？一啲 stereotyping 啊 ，developers tool for 呢個，哇佢都幾多 product 嘅喎，IDE 啊，哇呢個我都唔識嗰啲 language，但好似都幾 popular。Space 唔知咩，未去過喎呢個，或者太多 tools，哇 Google 都用咁犀利啊！麥蒂先，未用過喎，正嘢㗎呢個，唔識啊，真係唔識啊！扮識，呢個我知啊，真係唔識啊 ！Intelligent J 喎，即係聰明嘅 J 啊，一條聰明嘅 J 啊點啊 ？Family of capable and ergonomic development 嚇，即係未用過喎。呢個 IDE 同普通嗰啲有咩分別？PyCharm 我見過咯，但係呢個 idea 我未見過。PyCharm 我以前都 download 試用過，不過我好快又將個 focus 擺翻去 JS， 所以就都未真正去試玩過。Android Studio 冇玩過，太多啦。請原諒我吧，太多話頂刪咗先頂，仆街，自己中小心。Q 啦 ，Q 哥話一陣再搞，係啊，而家睇 machine learning 興合啊，而家嗰個興合啊已經，我哋睇埋呢個先。佢個 ID 暫時應該最勁，咁犀利。我冇啊，因為我都係嗰啲比較古板嘅人，即係用慣咗 VS Code。以前我就啱啱開始學嗰陣時，我係用呢個 Sublime 嘅。跟住就轉咗 VS Code 就未甩到咯，而家仲加埋 theme， 所以就應該未轉 ID， 遲啲先搞啦。屌啊嚇親，sorry，唔好意思，疏交。好，我哋再去啦。
We got data sets that look like this, where each example was labeled either as a positive or a negative example, whether it was a benign or malignant tumor. So for each example in supervised learning, we were told explicitly what is the so-called right answer, whether it's benign or malignant. In unsupervised learning, we're given data that looks different. We're given data that looks like this, that doesn't have any labels, or that sort of all has the same label, or really no labels. So we're given a data set, and we're not...
睇停先，呢度佢係咪意思即係冇咩 relationship 咁樣定？咦唔係喎，都係 input 嚟咗呢個，等陣先啊。input 即係同一種 input 啊，定睇一睇佢個字幕佢點樣先。Unsupervised given data looks different, then data looks like this, didn't have any labels, or has same label 或者可能係冇 label 嘅 data。OK， 睇埋先。
We're not told what to do with it, and we're not told what each data point is. Instead, we're just told, here is a data set. Can you find some structure in the data?Given this data set, an unsupervised learning algorithm might decide that the data lives in two different clusters. And so there's one cluster, and there's a different cluster. And the unsupervised learning algorithm may break this data into these two separate clusters. So this is called a clustering algorithm, and this turns out to be used in many places. One example where clustering is used is in Google News. And if you've not seen this before, you can actually go to this...
好 O 啊！我想講呢個版面 Google News， 哇！呢個至少5年以上啊！呢呢一隻版面，而家好似冇咗呢個 Google News 一隻嘢點樣係嘛
？news.google.com to take a look. What Google News does is every day it goes and looks at tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of news stories on the web, and it groups them into cohesive news stories. For example, let's look here. The URLs here link to different news stories about the BP oil well story. So let's say I click on one of these URLs. When I click on one of these URLs, what I'll get to is a web page like this. Here's a Wall Street Journal article about the BP oil well spill story. So BP kills Macondo, which is the name of the spill. And if you click on a different URL from that group, then you might get a different story. Here's a CNN story about, again, the BP oil spill. And if you click on yet a third link, then you might get, a different story. Here's the UK Guardian
different story
about the BP oil spill. So what Google News has done is looked at tens of thousands of news stories and automatically clustered them together so the news stories that are all about the same topic get to display together.
即係差唔多種類嘅 data 就 group 成一個 cluster 咁嘅意思。咁奇怪嘅例子，呢個同我想嘅有啲唔同。咁你如果你 search 呢一啲，等先個 new 係咪冇 search 過啊？好似冇 search 過。佢將呢啲嘢 group 埋一齊，差唔多類型嘅 news 擺埋一齊。OK， 唔緊要，再睇埋先。Python 初期用 Jupyter Notebook 會好啲。Donald 唔知你有冇睇過一個 YouTuber 係日本人嚟嘅，佢好似都係初頭都係教 Python 用呢一個，好似呢個叫 Dojo， 好似 Dojo 定咩？總之你 search Python 咧，通常都有個日本人咧教少少啲 basic 嘅 Python 啊，咁佢好似都係用呢個。
Turns out that clustering algorithms and unsupervised learning algorithms are used in many other problems as well. Here's one on understanding genomics. Here's an example of DNA microarray data. The idea is you get a group of different individuals, and for each of them, you measure how much they do or do not have a certain gene. Technically, you measure how much.
OK， 呢個 off topic 少少，有冇人識睇嘅 DNA？ 好奇啫，純粹好奇。有人以前讀書係讀過呢啲類似 DNA 嗰啲。
Certain genes are expressed. So these colors, red, green, gray, and so on, they show the degree to which different individuals do or do not have a specific gene. And what you can do is then run a clustering algorithm to group individuals into different categories or into different types of people. So this is unsupervised learning because we're not telling the algorithm in advance that, these are type 1 people, those are type 2 persons, those are type 3 persons, and so on. And instead, what we're saying is, here's a bunch of data. I don't know what's in this data. I don't know who's in what type. I don't even know what the different types of people are. But can you automatically find structure in the data for me? Can you automatically cluster the individuals into these types that I don't know in advance? Because we're not giving the algorithm the right answer for the examples in my data set, this is unsupervised learning.
OK， 我完全唔識睇，我都唔識。你有冇讀拜？我拜我以前有冇教㗎？我唔知，我冇讀過。佢呢度咧就，我覺得佢呢個例子舉得幾好，好似好威咁。我覺得佢呢個例子舉得幾好。佢呢度就話，將一啲 DNA 每個 individual 嘅 DNA 嗰啲 pattern 就擺晒喺度，然後咧就將差唔多樣嘅。差唔多 pattern 啊，就組成擺埋一齊，咁就變咗一個 cluster 啦，好似上嗰啲curly brace 咁就或者一個 cluster 啦。呢堆可能5條友差唔多嘅擺埋一個 cluster 咁樣。但係咧，佢哋擺埋即係將呢啲 individual 擺埋同一個 cluster 之前咧，本身可能嗰啲 scientist 係唔知究竟有幾多個 categories 啊，佢哋本身有啲咩 relationship 嘅，即係只不過 based on 呢一紮 data。將差唔多嘅擺埋一個 cluster 咁解嘅啫，就比之前嗰啲一早知道良性、惡性啊、腫瘤，即係比係啦嗰陣時啲 data 已經知道係咩種類噶嘛，呢啲就未知道有咩特別意思嘅，因為 DNA 其實有好多其實啲都唔知係點解噶嘛，即係都係知啲唔知啲啫嘛，要靠可能就係靠 machine learning 就係咁樣嘗試將佢哋擺埋一齊，然後就研究呢一班人有冇啲咩共通點咁樣之後，係咯，可能咁想咁嘅意思。
Unsupervised learning or clustering is used for a bunch of other applications. It's used to organize large computer clusters. I had some friends looking at large data centers, that is, large computer clusters, and trying to figure out which machines tend to work together. And if you can put those machines together, you can make your data center work more efficiently. Here's the second application, social network analysis. So given knowledge about which friends you email the most, or given your Facebook friends or your Google Plus circles, can we automatically identify which are cohesive groups of friends, or so which are groups of people that all know each other? Market segmentation. Many companies have huge databases of customer information.
呢啲我覺得可以 skip 啦，冇乜特別，即係佢講啲 data 有咩用。但係呢度我拆開少少講咧，我想講咧，其實即係最近社會發生嘅事啊，即係都有啲人做 research 㗎嘛，即係點解啲人黃啊，即係將啲黃嘅擺埋一齊，藍嘅擺埋一齊，跟住分即係再 analyse 佢哋有啲咩共通點啊咁樣。樓主好 ，hello， 你講 hello。
Group your customers into different market segments so that you can automatically
呢個可以 skip 啦，我睇。呢個都係講啲 data 可以點樣用嘅啫。
But we have the genomical data analysis, and these clustering algorithms give surprisingly interesting
marketing 啊 ，social networking 呢啲astro 咧啲太空嗰啲啦，天文嘢嘛。
Which is just one type of unsupervised learning. There's a party, room full of people,
Cocktail
all
room
sitting
problem.
around, all talking at the same time. And there are all these overlapping voices because everyone's talking at the same time, and it's almost hard to hear the person in front of you. So maybe you have a cocktail party with two people.
兩個人。
Two people talking at the same time.
哦。
And somewhat small cocktail party. And we're going to put two microphones in the room. So there are microphones. And because these microphones are at two different distances from the speakers, each microphone records a different combination of these two speakers' voices. Maybe speaker 1 is a little louder in microphone 1, and maybe speaker 2 is a little bit louder in microphone 2 because the two microphones are at different positions relative to the two speakers. But each microphone records an overlapping combination of both speakers' voices. So here's an actual recording of two speakers recorded by a researcher.
呢部咗黃藍就咧講點係 supervisor， 咦係喎 Donald 係喎，你啱喎，你啱喎，已經知道係喎，你啱。但係如果將一大紮冇 label 嘅後生仔執晒落去咁，可能就係 unsupervised。good， 頭腦清晰。Donald。
Play for you what the first microphone sounds like.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, maybe not the most interesting cocktail party is two people counting from 1 to 10 in two languages, but there you go. What you just heard was the first microphone recording. Here's the second recording.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 y 10.
So what you can do is take these two microphone recordings and give them to an unsupervised learning algorithm called the cocktail party algorithm, and tell the algorithm, find structure in this data for me. And what the algorithm will do is listen to these audio recordings and say, it sounds like the two audio recordings that are being added together or that are being summed together to produce these recordings that we had. Moreover, what the cocktail party algorithm will do is separate out these two audio sources that were being added or being summed together to form our recordings. And in fact, here's the first output of the cocktail party algorithm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So it separated out the English voice in one of the recordings, and here's the second output.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 y 10.
呢個分開佢。
Not too bad. To give you one more example, here's another recording of another similar situation. Here's the first microphone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, so the poor guy's gone home from the cocktail party, and he's now sitting in a room by himself talking to his radio. Here's the second microphone recording.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
When you give these two microphone recordings to the same algorithm, what it does is again say, it sounds like there are two audio sources, and moreover, the algorithm says, here is the first of the audio sources I found.
1, 2, 3, 4,
好悶啊！呢個例子
8,
已經好眼瞓，你係咁講 1, 2, 3, 4,
So
5。
that wasn't perfect. It got the voice, but it also got a little bit of the music in there. Then here's the second output of the algorithm. not too bad. In that second output, it managed to get rid of the voice entirely and just cleaned up the music and got rid of the counting from 1 to 10. So you might look at an unsupervised learning algorithm like this and ask how complicated is it to implement this, right? It seems like in order to build this application, it seems like to do this audio processing, you need to write a ton of code or maybe link into like a bunch of C++ or Java libraries to process audio. It seems like a really complicated program to do this audio, separating out audio and so on. It turns out the algorithm to do what you just heard, that can be done with one line of code, shown right here. It did take researchers a long time to come up with this line of code, so I'm not saying this is an easy problem, but it turns out that when you use the right programming environment, many learning algorithms can be really short programs. So this is also why in this class we're going to use the Octave programming environment. Octave is free open source software, and using a tool like Octave or MATLAB, many learning algorithms become just
Octave 係即係要 download 一個嚟嘅 Octave。MATLAB
software. And using a tool like Octave or MATLAB, many
冇
learning
用過
algorithms become
去
just a
download
few lines of code to implement. Later in this class, I'll also teach you a little bit about how to use Octave, and you'll be implementing some of these algorithms in Octave, or if you have MATLAB, you can use that too. Turns out that in Silicon Valley, for a lot of machine learning algorithms, what we do is first prototype our software in Octave, because software like Octave makes it incredibly fast to implement these learning algorithms.
好似都係
Here,
suggest
each of
Octave
these
多啲。
functions, like for example, the SVD function, that stands for singular value decomposition, but that turns out to be a linear algebra routine that is just built into Octave. If
Built
you were trying
in.
to do this in C++ or Java, this would be many, many lines of code linking complex C++ or Java libraries. So you can implement this stuff in C++ or Java or Python, but it's just much more complicated to do so in those languages. What I've seen after having taught machine learning for about a decade now is that you learn much faster if you use Octave as your programming environment.
佢 sell 緊 Octave 咯，佢已經。
If you use Octave as your learning tool,
收我
as a
錢啊！
prototyping tool, it will let you learn and prototype learning
收我
algorithms
錢
more quickly.
用 Octave
And in
啦，
fact,
快
what many
嘅
people。will do in the
好多人都
large
用
Silicon Valley companies is in fact use an algorithm like Octave to first
仲講
prototype
緊
the learning algorithm.
Silicon Valley 都
And
用
only
嘅。
after you've gotten it to work, then you migrate it to C++ or Java or whatever. It turns out that by doing things this way, you can often get your algorithm to work much faster than if you were starting out in C++.
係啊，much
So I
faster。
know that as an instructor, I get to say, trust me on this one.
信我啦
Find that number of
用
times.
Octave
But for
啦。
those of you who have never used these Octave-type programming environments before, I'm going to ask you to trust me on this one.
Trust
and
me
say that you will, I think your time or your
好不安
development
對
time
咁
is
樣講
one of
嘅
the most valuable resources. And having seen lots of people do this, I think you
Hard
as a
sell.
machine learning researcher or machine learning developer will be much more productive if you learn this stuff and prototype this stuff in Octave and in some other language. Finally, to wrap up this video, I have one quick review question for you.
One quick review
We talked
question，
about
好又嚟
unsupervised learning,
問題時
which is
間
a。learning setting where you give the algorithm a ton of data and just ask it to find structure in the data for us. Of the following 4 examples, which of these 4 do you think would be an unsupervised learning algorithm as opposed to a supervised learning problem?
邊個係
For
unsupervised？
each of the 4 check boxes on the left, check the ones for which
我
you
可以
think,
可以揀多個
unsupervised
answer。
learning algorithm would be appropriate, and then click the button on the lower right to check your answer.
好，
So when the video closes, please
可以
answer
揀多過一
this
個
on your
嘅 unsupervised 嘅。好，第一個 given email label as spam or not spam learn a spam filter given email label 得 label 突就一定唔係啦，好俾晒 tips 啊，真係係咪一定唔係噶啦？第二個 given a set of news article found on the web group them into sets of articles about the same stories。佢俾一 set 啫，但係冇講係乜嘢，應該係 random 嘅，所以我覺得呢個係呢個係。Given a database of customer data, automatically discover market segments and group customers into different market segments。佢都係 given a database of customer data，應該係 all types of customers 都 included 嘅，所以我覺得係都係應該。Given a data set of patients diagnosed as either having diabetes or not, learn to classify new patients as having diabetes or not。都係俾晒 tips 啊 ，diagnosed 係嘛 as diabetes 已經講咗係已經分咗類呢個。I don't think this one is the unsupervised learning algorithm. So I guess this question B and C should be the answer。留住幾時打機？好乸眼瞓噶嘛，今日打唔到。你哋今日得閒係嘛？你想打咩機先 ？COD 定咩？你想打咩先？阿生話 A， 你覺得呢？淨係 A？Only A？Unsupervised learning algorithm 喎，you think A 啊？係咪即係第一個？我可以去個洗個面，好眼瞓，跟住翻嚟再撳 submit， 俾啲時間大家諗一諗咯呢題。唔改答案係嘛？仲係 A 係嘛？我哋有決戰喎，係特登做俾我，即係大家答案唔同咁樣，估到嚟又都收尾。樓主考 West，Hello West， 啱啊 ，B、C 就啱啦。我初頭以為呢個都係 correct 嘅 ，unselected 就啱啦咁。繼續。可能佢有聽少少解釋啦。
So hopefully you remember the spam filter problem. If you have labeled
好眼瞓，好耐未試過咁眼瞓嘅。
Spam and non-spam email, we treat this as a supervised learning problem. The new story.
我 feel 到個頭頂咧，個腦好似喺上高咁樣。有冇試過？好似諗嘢咧，啲嘢喺上高咁樣。睇停先。阿 Donald change 咗咧 ，supervise 同 unsupervise 最大分別就係。train 你之前 label 晒，定係 train 完先 label？train 完之前，OK， 即係 input 擺入去之前 label 咗未咁樣分係嘛？最大分別。Nice thanks for sharing。train 之前 label 咗未
？Because I'm just going to give my algorithm data and ask it to discover market segments automatically. And the final example diabetes. Well, that's actually just like our breast cancer example from the last video. Only instead of good and bad cancer tumors or benign and malignant tumors, we instead have diabetes or not. And so we will use that as a supervised. We will solve that as a supervised learning problem, just like we did for the breast tumor data. So that's it for unsupervised learning. And in the next video, we'll delve more into specific learning algorithms and start to talk about just how these algorithms work and how you
好
feel about
跟住應該又會再深入少少啦。仲有成日叫我 purchase certificate， 冇錢冇錢買 cert 啊，唔幫襯啊，係嘛？哦，有啲 summary 啦，我哋睇睇啲 summary。unsupervised 咧就可以幫我哋去approach 一啲問題咧，係未有咩 idea 嘅，即係可能都好少 idea， 或者完全冇 idea。What are results look like？ 即係可能完全冇諗過 result 係點嘅，純粹可能試一試咁樣睇下有冇可能係點嘅。咁我哋可以 derive 咧個 structure。我哋 we don't necessarily know the effects of the variable。做 clustering 嘅 data 咧，成日都用 clustering 呢個字，應該係啲 keywords clustering。仲有咧係冇 feedback based on the prediction results 嘅例子，呢啲都係頭先啲例子啦。譬如一啲基因啊，100萬個基因自動 group 埋佢。有啲咩近似擺埋一齊先。跟住 cocktail party， 我幫你玩 the structure in chaotic environment。呢個例子其實我冇明嘅，long clustering。allow you find structure， 即係好惡劣嘅環境幫你揾到 structure。佢只不過將啲聲斬開啫嘛，咁都叫揾到 structure 咩？Therefore, identifying individual voice and music from a mesh of sound， 咁樣就唔算 custom， 佢都會擺埋啫嘛。即係可能一嚿 data， 然後佢將佢分開咁嘅意思。即係佢一段聲帶有音樂有人聲 A 人聲 B， 然後佢就分翻開差唔多嘅就。可能音樂差唔多嗰個差唔多擺埋一齊，差唔多嘅聲又擺埋一齊，就變咗係嘛？透過人講嘢咁，我都唔知。我哋再睇下之後有啲咩先。係啊 ，mental program overview， 唔使啦，應該唔好教呢啲，就瞓着㗎啦。再睇呢啲 mental program。Get to know your classmate. Get to know your classmate. Come on, man. We are having online classes. Go to meet and greet forum and click the new friend. Come on. Updating your profile. Come on. General questions. 真係 question 嘅咯，有嘅。The following machine learning methods. 咩？哦，即係呢個係已經有啲啲 buddies 啊，可能經過呢幾個 video 咧問下啲問題，睇下我哋有冇啲問題值得睇下先。哦，算啦，冇嘢，我都係啲 technical 嘅問題，關於嗰個 platform 嘅問題，有冇啲唔關嘅 platform 事啊？Matrix 咯，佢話 they should be entered just element without brackets。Matrix 我都唔記得咗點計。以前上嗰個好短 course 靠啲咩 D 啊嘛 ，D in 嗰啲咪 Matrix 咩係咪啊？好，再睇落去啦，唔識再算，我哋再去。Let's go review lecture slide 20 minutes lecture slide 頭先，而家先俾 lecture slide 我。 即係點啊？頭先白睇啊，係嘛？係咪頭先一啲 lecture slide？我頭先嘅呢啲睇過晒啦，呢啲 introduction 5 question 啲咩啊 ？introduction submit your assignment 做唔做啊？係咪我哋而家做唔做呢個 assignment？我哋再去計啊？用 calculator 計又得？邊度啊？呢個我哋講 quiz 係咪？我哋講係咪嗰個 matrix 啊？用 cal 機我都唔識撳啊，衰啲講。睇下先，你哋係咪用呢啲 cal 機？揾翻個 cal 機，好耐冇用過。死啦！唔知係咪病啊？係咁打一次，仲有一次 live，但係仲有一次見我。我俾個你哋應該未見過嘅計數機你睇下，你哋有冇用過呢一款啊？你哋有冇用過呢一款啊 ？FX50F， 不過我都唔係用呢個款多嘅，我用一個好似叫咩360嘅。呢個卡西歐係咪？你哋用呢隻噶嘛？呢隻有蓋啊咁樣。哦，叫做 FX50S FH 好似係。呢個仲有冇電呢？啊，仲開到喎，正。Stand by 先 calculator。我老豆有你嗰部頂你個肺。啊！整你個仔啊！炒啊！你老豆。其實呢部都係我都唔知要運動，唔關我事呢部。其實我偷咗你老豆個部。好，睇你 introduction 先。呢啲係咪做過噶啦？定係新噶？好似新嘅，好，我哋盡快做咗佢先好嘛？盡快做咗，一齊做咗佢。放大啲。咁呢個 program set to learn from experience 呢個 definition 啦 ，suppose we fit a learning with a historical weather data 啲歷史嘅天氣數據，即係我哋天文台啊，我哋 fit a learning method from 好多歷史嘅天氣數據 ，and have it learn to predict weather 去預測天氣嘅。呢 setting 咩 T 啊 ？T 就係 task 啊 ，task 係 the weather predict task probability 一同埋 B，none of this the process。呢個應該係嗰個 experience， 所以係 A 下題。The amount of rain that 睇唔到 that falls in a day usually measure in either mm or inches。哎呀，呢個我諗起一個好好笑啊！呢個我唔知你有冇睇台灣呢個咧咩暴雨啊？唔知咩哦。我哋今日落雨咧就落咗50毫米，跟住有個戇鳩記者咧，即係攞個水桶啊，跟住裝住，哇！呢桶咧就係今日落雨嘅份量啦，跟住撥出嚟，跟住撥晒出嚟，戇鳩，即係佢覺得50mm 就真係50個毫升咁就為之當日嘅下雨量，唔知佢咩心態。你哋有冇睇過一條片啊？今日就係落咗50毫米啫咁啊！咁啊 ，suppose you use learning algorithm to predict how much rain。OK， would you treat this as classification 定係 regression？ Suppose how much rain regression。Suppose you are working on stock market， 股價預測股價啦 ，and you would like to predict the price of particular stock tomorrow， 預計個價錢啦 ，measure in dollars。Use a learning algorithm for this， would you treat classification or regression？Price regression. Some of the problems below are best addressed using a supervised learning algorithm. Supervised and others are unsupervised. Which of following will you apply supervised to? So all they applied in each case assume some above radial test is 點啊？等先。Below are best addressed using and the other with which would you apply which would you apply supervised learning。 OK， 即係有 unsuit 同埋就咁 suit， 咁邊個你會用嚟 apply suit 咧？睇睇先。 Given not just dataset 啊 ，based on 我哋頭先 Donald Chan 分享，我哋睇 label 咗未係嘛？係使用呢個方法。Large dataset of medical records from patients suffering from heart disease label 咗。Given DNA data from a person， 未 label 啦 ，genetic data 應該都係好 fake 嘅，就咁 genetic DNA data 其實。Given data on how 100個 medical patient respond，medical patient 冇講咩類嘅 medical patient respond to per experimental drugs such as discover whether there are types of patients discover whether there are 一定係銀啦。Have a computer examine a audio clip of a piece of music. Examine an audio clip of a piece of music, whether or not they are vocal. 我覺得淨係得第一個嘅，我覺得淨係得第一個。雖然佢話試得 all they apply， 但我覺得淨係得 A， 唔知你點睇？最尾啦 ，which of this is a reasonable definition of ML？ Reasonable 嘅 definition. Science of programming computer. Field of allowing robot. Learn from label data. 一定唔係啦，呢個一定唔係。Is the field of study given learn 呢個咯，呢個頭先有用過呢個字啊。雖然係一個係1949年嘅 definition 比較舊啦，但係 Samuel 都叫 reasonable 嘅 definition 啦。我哋揀definition from Samuel。OK，understand submit。我唯一第4題唔好有信心啦，其他我都幾有信心，好似好勁咁，幾有信心。跟住即刻查 ，and then use your name on government user ID 唔係碼，使唔使啊 ？save 咗先，唔俾我submit，唔submit都得，但係有咩對答案啊？我government ID 就係叫 Stone Gidino， 我都唔介意自爆個名係咩？我身份證，我自己嘅身份證。submit 應該係邊題？第4題錯咗，點解啊？點解？Incorrect。Keep learning。哎呀，都 pass 咗，但係第4題錯咗。啊，佢唔俾答案我睇嘅。Real feedback 先。點解啊？點解錯咩啊？睇唔翻問題，係咪冇得再 submit 㗎？try again 我係淨係 try 第4題先。佢調轉咗啲位添喎，抵死啊！我覺得係爭一個啦，呢個就一定係 supervised learning 㗎啦。1000個 medical patients respond to an given呢個可能呢個都係咯，雖然我都唔好知點解。等留住 COD carry 冇問題啊！一場50殺咁樣，我哋試下 submit 多次先。我哋 submit 多次先。仲錯多題嘅，做咩事啊？都唔啱喎。我呢個撳錯咗，我哋 try again，答到啱為止嚇。 把石聽雲跳。我仲要有限你 attempt 幾多次，有限你 attempt 幾多次，要再答過啦。Whether or not， 佢啲問題好似有唔同咗喎，我發覺係嘛 ？What is T？ Predict whether or not will win classification. Whether or not will win a certain classification. 佢轉問題啊，咁陰噶。邊個係 supervised？ 轉埋問題添喎，咁抵死嘅。我想揾翻同一題都揾唔翻。邊個係 supervised learning？ 今次一定啱啦，冇得走，答3次都唔啱，真係不得了。Farming given data on crop use over 呢個都係啦 supervised。Examine the web page classify the content should be child friendly。呢個唔係，呢個都唔係，冇理由啊！你1000個 medical patient 應該，你淨係 medical patient，佢可以係唔同量嘅 patient 噶嘛？係咯，其實冇 type 嘅喎，你淨係呢兩個先係。所以今次就係拍定手先㗎，今次真係係咪拍定手先？drama 嘅。80有錯，又錯，點解又錯？哭撚咗，但係唔緊要，我哋都係 pass 嘅，我哋都80% 分。to pass 80% 話係點解咧？知唔知點解？但係我哋落歐語專業，點解又落乜歐語專業咧？傾呢一定唔係，傾呢一定唔係，鹹著80%呢個恥辱。唔緊要，我哋下次拎100，我哋下次拎100，好冇？最後冇係錯嘅。
Our first learning algorithm will be linear regression. In this video, you see what the model looks like, and more importantly, you also see what the overall process of supervised learning looks like. Let's use our motivating example of predicting housing prices. We're going to use a data set of housing prices from the city of Portland, Oregon, and here I'm going to plot my data set of a number of houses that were of different sizes that were sold for a range of different prices. Let's say that given this data set, you have a friend that's trying to sell a house, and let's say your friend's house is of size 1,250 square feet, and you want to tell them how much they might be able to sell the house for. Well, one thing you could do is fit a model, maybe fit a straight line to this data.
咩 linear regression 輕鬆唔係嘛？我完全唔知咩嚟喎，應該難喎。睇下先 ，model representation 幾時係 linear regression 啊？呢度 linear algebra 係咪啊 ？algebra 同 regression 好似兩樣嘢嚟喎。唔緊要，一陣間見到就應該賴嘅。輕鬆唔識啊！睇先，中學有教咩？可唔可以舉個例子啊？因為我太耐啦，我中學真係有啲久遠。
Example of a supervised learning algorithm, and is supervised learning because we're given the quote right answer.
Given the right answer for each example in the data.
Namely, we're told what was the actual price that each of the houses in our data set was sold for. And moreover, this is an example of a regression problem where the term regression refers to the fact that we're predicting a real value output.
Given the right answer for each example in the data.
The other most common type of supervised learning problem is called a classification problem, where we predict discrete values outputs.
你而家唔係 linear regression， 我唔知啊，我唔識啊。
Looking at cancer tumors and trying to decide.
我連呢啲 regression 係咩都唔知。
So that's a 0, 1 value discrete. More formally, in supervised learning, we have a data set. And this data set is called a training set.
有個
So
training
for a
set，
housing price example, we have a training set of different housing prices. And our job is to learn from this data how to predict the prices of the houses. Let's define some notation that we're using throughout this course. I'm going to define quite a lot of symbols. It's okay if you don't remember all the symbols right now, but as the course progresses, it'll be useful to have a convenient notation. So I'm going to use lowercase m throughout this course to denote the number of training examples. So in this data set, if I
x
have,
input y
let's say, 47 rows in this table, then I have 47 training examples and n equals 47. I'm going to use lowercase x to denote the input variables, often also called the features. So that will be x's here, would be our input features. And I'm going to use y to denote my output variables, or the target variable which I'm trying to predict. So that's this second column here. A little bit more notation. I'm going to use x comma y to denote a single training example.
One training
So
example.
a single row in this table corresponds to a single training example. And to refer to a specific training example, I'm going to use this notation xi comma yi, and going to use this to refer to the ith training example.
Okay.
So this superscript I over here, this is not exponentiation, right? This xiyi, the superscript I in parentheses, that's just an index into my training set and it refers to the ith row in this table. Okay, so this is not x to the power of I, y to the power of I. Instead, xiyi
即係唔係次方嚟
refers to
嘅，
the ith row of this table.
係第幾 pair
So,
咁
for
樣。
example, x1, refers to the input value from the first training example. So that's
第一個 training，
4,
Okay.
because that's x in the
呢
first
個可以
row.
skip，呢個可以。
X second x is the y value for my.
Okay.
So as mentioned, occasionally I'll ask you a question to let you check your own understanding. In a few seconds in this video, a multiple choice question will pop up in the video.
有
When it does,
MC，
please use your mouse
誒又有問題咯，我哋又有
to answer.
有得睇下讀個 drama 未咯。Consider training sets shown below. X 嘅 I 同 Y I with the I training example. What is Y3 咧？315。拍定手先。太易啦，即係俾翻有啲成功
We'll
感
define
嘅。
what a training set is, and so here's how a supervised learning.
啱啱嗰個冇
works.
100% 太錯
We
就係
start
咁
with a
嘅。
training set, like our training sets of housing
build up
prices,
返啲
and
信心
we
先。
feed that to our learning algorithm. It's the job of a learning algorithm to then output a function, which by convention is usually denoted lowercase h, and h stands for hypothesis. And what the job of the hypothesis is a function that takes as input the size of a house, like maybe the size of a new house that your friend is trying to sell. So it takes in a new value of x, and it tries to output the estimated value of y for the corresponding house. So h is a function that maps from x's to y's. People often ask me, why is this function called a hypothesis? Some of you may know the meaning of the term hypothesis from the dictionary or from science or whatever. It turns out that in machine learning, this is a name that was used in the early days of machine learning, and it kind of stuck. It's maybe not a great name for this sort of function for mapping from sizes of houses to the predictions, but I think the term hypothesis maybe isn't the best possible name for this, but it's the standard terminology that people use in machine learning now. So don't worry too much about why people call it. When designing a learning algorithm, the next thing we need to decide is how do we represent this hypothesis h? For this and the next few videos, I'm going to choose our initial choice for representing the hypothesis will be the following. I'm going to represent h as follows. I'm going to write to this h subscript theta of x equals theta 0 plus theta 1 of x. And as a shorthand, sometimes instead of writing h subscript theta of x, Sometimes as a shorthand, I'll just write this as h of x, but more often I'll write it as a subscript theta over there. And plotting this in pictures, all this means is that we are going to predict that y is a linear function of x. Right? So that's our data set, and what this function is doing is it's predicting that y is some straight line function of x. That's h of x equals theta 0 plus theta 1 x. Okay? And why a linear function? Well, sometimes we'll want to fit more complicated, perhaps nonlinear functions as well. But since this linear case is the simpler building block, we'll start with this example first of fitting linear functions, and we'll build on this to eventually have more complex models and more complex learning algorithms. Let me also give this particular model a name. This model is called linear regression, or this particular example is actually linear regression with one variable, with the variable being x. So predicting causing prices function with one variable x. And another name for this model is univariate linear regression. And univariate is just a fancy way of saying one variable. So that's linear regression. In the next video, we'll start to talk about just how to go about implementing this model.
聽完已經覺得有啲不安 ，linear regression 都有啲不安。model representation 有啲 notes 啦，或者啲 skip 啊呢啲，我相信大家頭先都聽得好專心啊，都係 I 咗個 I sets of data 啦，冇乜特別。咁啊中間有 actual represent， 講點樣 represent 添啦都。cost function 我睇多啲 function。
In this video, we'll define something called the cost function.
Cost function.
This will let us figure out how to fit the best possible straight line to our data.
Best possible straight line.
In linear regression, we have a training set like that shown here. Remember our notation, m was the number of training examples, so maybe m equals 47. And the form of our hypothesis, which we use to make predictions, is this linear function. To introduce a little bit more terminology, these theta 0 and theta 1, right? These theta i's are what are called the parameters of the model. And what we're going to do in this video is talk about how to go about choosing these two parameter values, theta 0 and theta 1. With different choices of the parameters theta 0 and theta 1, we get different hypotheses, different hypothesis functions. I know some of you will probably be already familiar with what I'm going to do on this slide, but just to review, here are a few examples. If theta 0 is 1.5 and theta 1 is 0, then the hypothesis function will look like this. Right? Because your hypothesis function will be h of x equals 1.5 plus 0 times x, which is this constant value function that's just flat at 1.5. If theta 0 equals 0, theta 1 equals 0.5, then
如果咁啊呢個即係0.5x 咁樣。
The hypothesis will look like this, and it should pass through this point 2, 1, since you now have h of x, so really h substrate theta of x, but sometimes I'll just omit theta for brevity. So h of x would be equal to just 0.5 times x, which looks like that. And finally, if theta equals 1 and theta 1 equals 0.5, then we end up with a hypothesis that looks like this. Let's see, it should pass through the 2 points, like so, and this is my new h of x, or my new h subscript theta of x. All right, well, you remember I said that this is h subscript theta of x, but as a shorthand, sometimes I'll just write this as h of x.
點解咁突然間停咗嘅？哇，好眼瞓！咁突然間停咗個問題咧，完全冇提示啊！突然間停咗就有問題。好，我哋睇睇啦嚇，嗰啲數學啦 ，plot 個 h 嘅0咁就x 啊 ，where 啊 ，what 啊呢個係呢個 ，OK。呢個就應該係0就應該係0.5咯。 呢個就應該係一咯，呢個一啦。x 係一，0.5同一，有冇人唔同意啊？係咪瞓着晒啦？佢哋已經應該0.5同一係嘛？今晚我可以1點鐘，可以睇到幾點？可唔可以睇到 review 啲？今次好同意 ，yes， 睇好啦，我哋submit啦。copy， yeah。
In linear regression, we have a training set, like maybe the one I plotted here. What we want to do is come up with values for the parameters theta 0 and theta 1, so that the straight line we get all of this corresponds to a straight line that somehow fits the data well, like maybe that line out there. So how do we come up with values theta 0, theta 1 that corresponds to a good fit to the data? The idea is we're going to choose our parameters theta 0, theta 1, so that h of x, meaning the value we predict on input x, that this is at least close to the values y for the examples in our training set.
I think I choose 呢個 show that is close to y for our training
examples. So in our training set, we're given a number of examples where we know x, the size of the house, and we know the actual price it was sold for. So let's try to choose values for the parameters so that at least in the training set, given the x's in the training set, we make reasonably accurate predictions for the y values. Let's formalize this. So in linear regression, what we're going to do is I'm going to want to solve a minimization problem. So I'm going to write minimize over theta 0, theta 1. And I wanted this to be small, right? I want the difference between h of x and y to be small. And one thing I might do is try to minimize the squared difference between the output of my hypothesis and the actual price of the house. Okay? So let's fill in some details. You remember that I was using the notation xi comma yi to represent the ith training example. So what I want really is to sum over my training set, sum from I equals 1 to m, of the squared difference between, this is the prediction of my hypothesis when it is input the size of house number I, right, minus the actual price that house number I was sold for. And I want to minimize the sum over my training set, sum from I equals 1 through m, of the difference, so the squared difference between the predicted price of the house and the price that it was actually sold for. And just to remind you of your notation, m here was the size of my training set, right? So the m there is my number of training examples. Right? That hash sign is the abbreviation for number of training examples. Okay? And to make some of our later math a little bit easier, I'm going to actually look at 1 over m times that. So I'm going to try to minimize my average error. I'm going to minimize 1 over 2m. Putting the 2, the constant 1/2 in front, it just makes some of the math a little bit easier. So minimizing 1/2 of something, right, should give you the same values for the parameters theta 0 and theta 1 as minimizing that function. And just make sure this equation is clear, right? This expression in here, h subscript theta of x, this is our usual, right? That's equal to this plus theta 1 xi. And this notation, minimize over theta 0 and theta 1, this means...
佢 minimize 呢個好似一隻貓頭鷹個眼，呢個係眼左眼啦，呢個右眼，呢個係鼻啊，跟住係塊面，好眼瞓，繼續。
Find me the values of theta 0 and theta 1 that causes this expression to be minimized. And this expression depends on theta 0 and theta 1. Okay? So just to recap, we're posing this problem as, find me the values of theta 0 and theta 1 so that the average, or really 1 over 2m times the sum of squared errors between my predictions on the training set minus the actual values of the houses on the training set is minimized. So this is going to be my overall objective function for linear regression. And just to rewrite this out a little bit more cleanly, what I'm going to do is, by convention, we usually define a cost function, which is going to be exactly this.
哇，要寫越難嘅，喂屌，開始唔明添。
And what I want to do is minimize over theta 0 and theta 1 my function j of theta 0, comma theta 1. Just write this out.
死啦，開始唔明。
This is my cost function.
Cost function.
So this cost function is also called the squared error function.
Sometimes
called the squared error cost function. And it turns out that why do we take the squares of the errors? It turns out that the squared error cost function is a reasonable choice and will work well for most problems, for most regression problems. There are other cost functions that will work pretty well, but the squared error cost function is probably the most commonly used one for regression problems. Later in this class, we'll talk about alternative cost functions as well, but this choice that we just had should be a pretty reasonable thing to try for most linear regression problems. Okay, so that's the cost function. So far, we've just seen a mathematical definition of this cost function, and in case this function j of theta 0, theta 1, in case this function seems a little bit abstract, and you still don't have a good sense of what it's doing, in the next video, in the next couple of videos, I'm actually going to go a little bit deeper into what the cost function j is doing and try to give you better intuition about what it's computing.
我等佢完好耐啊，咁啊，因為有朝有 reading 啊，3分鐘 reading 啊，睇下究竟講啲乜？唔明嗰個 cost function 啊，哇！佢要鋪寫個圖。We can measure the accuracy of our hypothesis function by using a cost function. This takes an average difference, actually a fancier version of an average, of all the results of hypothesis with inputs from x and external outputs y. 黐線，以我嘅數學 level 真係唔明佢想點。To break it apart, LEGO, where LEGO is the mean of the square of mean squared error, have this convenience for the computational. 睇人都唔知佢點樣計嘅，總之一條好長嘅數式啦，係 cost function 啦，總之就master complete 唔係好想 master complete 呢個我留翻，唔好剔住。Intuition 應該會更加眼瞓啊！以後呢一條片會11分鐘夠未
We gave a mathematical definition of the cost function. In this video, let's look at some examples to get better intuition about what the cost function is and why we want to use it.
Example 我仲要 example 會
To recap, here's what we had last time. We want to fit a straight line to our data, so we had this form as a hypothesis with these parameters theta 0 and theta 1, and with different choices of the parameters, we end up with different straight line fits to the data, which are like so. And there's a cost function, and that was our optimization objective. For this video, in order to better visualize the cost function j, I'm going to work with a simplified hypothesis function, like that shown on the right. So I'm going to use a simplified hypothesis, which is just theta 1 times x. You can, if you want, think of this as setting the parameter theta 0 equal to 0. So I have only one parameter, theta 1, and my cost function is similar to before, except that now h of x, that is now equal to just theta 1 times x. And I have only... And my cost function is similar to before, except that now h of x, that is now equal to just theta 1 times x. And I have only one parameter, theta 1, and so my optimization objective is to minimize j of theta 1. In pictures, what this means is that if theta 0 equals 0, that corresponds to choosing only hypothesis functions that pass through the origin, that pass through the point 0, 0 over there. Using the simplified definition of the hypothesis and cost function, let's try to understand the cost function concept better. It turns out there are two key functions we want to understand. The first is the hypothesis function, and the second is the cost function. So notice that the hypothesis, right, h of x, for a fixed value of theta 1, this is a function of x. So the hypothesis is a function of what is the size of the house x. In contrast, the cost function, j, that's a function of the parameter theta 1, which controls the slope of your straight line. Let's plot these functions and try to understand them both better. Let's start with the hypothesis. On the left, let's say here's my training set with 3 points at 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 3. Let's pick a value of theta 1. So we'll set theta 1 equals 1, and if that's my choice for theta 1, then my hypothesis is going to look like this straight line over here. Okay? And I want to point out, when I'm plotting my hypothesis function, my x-axis, my horizontal axis is labeled x, is labeled, size of the house over here. Now, I've temporarily set theta 1 equals 1. What I want to do is figure out, what is j of theta 1 when theta 1 equals 1. So let's go ahead and compute what the cost function is for the value 1. Well, as usual, my cost function is defined as follows, right? Sum over my training set of this usual squared error term. And this is therefore equal to this of theta 1 xi minus yi. And if you simplify, this turns out to be that 0 squared plus 0 squared plus 0 squared, which is, of course, just equal to 0. Now, inside the cost function, it turns out each of these terms here is equal to 0 because for the specific training set I have, where my 3 training examples are at 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, if theta 1 is equal to 1, then h of x, h of xi is equal to yi exactly in that is right? And so h of x minus y, each of these terms is equal to 0, which is why I find that j of 1 is equal to 0. So we now know that j of 1 is equal to 0. Let's plot that. What I'm going to do on the right is plot my cost function j. And notice, because my cost function is a function of my parameter theta 1, when I plot my cost function, the horizontal axis is now labeled with theta 1. So I have j of 1 is equal to 0, so let's go ahead and plot that to end up with an x over there. Now let's look at some other examples. Theta 1 can take on a range of different values, right? So theta 1 can take on a negative value, 0, or positive values. So what if theta 1 is equal to 0.5? What happens then? Let's go ahead and plot that. I'm now going to set theta 1 equals 0.5, and in that case, my hypothesis now looks like this. There's a line with slope equals to 0.5, and let's compute j of 0.5. So that is going to be 1 over 2m of my usual cost function. It turns out that the cost function is going to be the sum of squared values of the height of this line plus the sum of squared of the height of that line plus the sum of squared of the height of that line, right? Because this vertical distance, that's the difference between, y, I, and the predicted value h of xi, right? So the first example, this is going to be 0.5 minus 1 squared, because my hypothesis predicted 0.5, whereas the actual value was 1. In my second example, I get 1 minus 2 squared, because my hypothesis predicted 1, but the actual housing price was 2. And then finally, plus 1.5 minus 3 squared. And so that's equal to 1 over 2 times 3, because m, my training set size, right, I have 3 training examples. And then that's times, simplifying the thing in parentheses, is 3.5. So that's 3.5 over 6, which is about 0.68. So now we know that j of 0.5 is about 0.68. Let's go and plot that. Oh, excuse me, math error. This is actually 0.58. So we plot that, which is going to be over there. Okay?
就 plot 一點咁，又突然嘅，咁突然做OK， 最好 example 嚟做就知啦，識唔識啊？做嗰啲係實戰呢個咩啊？實戰 cost function. Suppose we have a training set with m equals 3 example， 就3個 examples 啦。plot 得 below， 咁就1、1、2、2、3、3，唔似頭先嗰個嘅。hypothesis representation 咧係咁樣 ，with param 得1嗰個啫，冇0嘅，所以喺度去打直呢個0。OK， 咁cost function j 等於 what is j0？ OK， j0 係J0 係 0， 好明顯係 0啊！你同唔同意 ？J0 係 0。飲晒。J0係咪 0？ 瞓晒，全部瞓晒，全部瞓晒。其實我都唔知計緊咩，有得睇翻頭先嗰度。 係咪先？冇人答，即係應該你哋全部唔係睇緊呢個，唔係睇緊呢個咩啊？唔係睇緊呢個 Coursera 嘅，而家10秒啦。啲數都費事啦。點解 J C J1 就係 C 話 J C 係乜鬼？係錯啦，我哋再 skip 我哋翻轉頭。
Now, and so that's equal to 1/2 times 3 because M, my training set size, I have 3 training examples. And then that's times simplifying the parentheses is 3.5. So that's 3.5/6, which is about 0.68. So now we know that J of 0.5 is about 0.68. Let's go and plot that. Oh, excuse me, math error. This is actually 0.58. So I'm going to plot that, which is maybe about over there. Okay?
OK 計下先，應該咧使拎部計數機出嚟最有用啊！J0 係 J0 減1係嘛？12M square 加 square 加 square 14乘1除2乘3係嘛？14 over
Now,
一條直線1 over 2M 啊嘛。3 square 除翻6係嘛？2乘3咁多個三浦14 over 6啊。
let's do one more. How about if okay? Oh, I'm going to plot that over there.
點樣去翻個問題？14 over 6啊，咁先啱啊。correct 啦，你最啱啦。等會我 continue。
Now, let's do one more. How about if theta 1 is equal to 0?
Let's do one more.
J of 0 equal to. It turns out that if theta 1 is equal to 0, that is
theta 1
J
equal
of
to 0
equal to.
J2 OK。
It turns out that if theta 1 is equal to 0,
應該真係
then
0。
h of x is just equal to this flat line, right? It just goes horizontally like this. And so, measuring the errors, we have that J of 0 is equal to 1/2m times 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared, which is 1/6 times 14, which is about 2.3. So let's go ahead and plot that as well. We end up with a value around 2.3. And of course, we can keep on doing this for other values of theta 1. It turns out that you can have negative values of theta 1 as well. So if theta 1 is negative, then h of x would be equal to, say, minus 0.5 times x, right? If theta 1 is minus 0.5, and so that corresponds to a hypothesis, with a slope of negative 0.5, and you can actually keep on computing these errors.
不過仲講緊頭先嗰題嘅你咁啊？
For 0.5,
講緊頭先嗰題，頭先有答案。
turns out to be really high error. It works out to be something like 5.25, and so on. And for different values of theta 1, you can compute these things, right? And it turns out that you compute a range of values, you get something like that. And by computing a range of values, you can actually slowly trace out what this function
好似真係中學學過啲類似嘅喎。
J of theta is. To recap, for each value of theta 1, right, each value of theta 1
佢畫呢條 curve 我好似有啲印象，呢個 U 型嘅 curve。
corresponds to a different hypothesis or to a different straight line fit on the left. And for each value of theta 1, we could then derive a different value of j of theta 1. And for example, theta 1 equals 1 corresponded to this straight line fit through the data, whereas theta 1 equals 0.5 from this point, shown in magenta, corresponded to maybe that line, and theta 1 equals 0, which I'm going to show in blue, that corresponds to this horizontal line, right? So for each value of theta 1, we wound up with a different value of j of theta 1, and we could then use this to trace out this plot on the right. Now, you remember, the optimization objective for our learning algorithm is we want to choose the value of theta 1 that minimizes j of theta 1, right? This was our objective function for linear regression. Well, looking at this curve, the value that minimizes j of theta 1 is, theta 1 equals to 1. And lo and behold, that is indeed the best possible straight line fit through our data. By setting theta 1 equals 1, for this particular training set, we actually end up fitting it perfectly. And that's why minimizing j of theta 1 corresponds to finding a straight line that fits the data well. So, to wrap up, in this video, we looked at some plots to understand the cost function. To do so, we simplified the algorithm so that it had only one parameter theta 1, and we set the parameter theta 0 to be really 0. In the next video, we'll go back to the original problem formulation and look at some visualizations involving both theta 0 and theta 1 without setting theta 0 to 0. And hopefully that will give you an even better sense of what the cost function j is doing in the original linear regression formulation.
Go. 個 reading 係頭先嗰啲啊嘛。啲 reading 竟然 cap 翻嗰個頭先個 PowerPoint 嗰啲，唔係 PowerPoint 個 presentation 嗰啲，佢直 copy 落嚟啊嘛。我都係嘅，冇乜特別啦。Global minimum， we should try minimize the cost function 啦，即係。OK， cost function intuition 2。
In this video, let's delve deeper into the differentiation about what the cost function is doing. This video assumes that you're familiar with contour plots. If you're not familiar with contour plots or contour figures, some of the illustrations in this video may or may not make sense to you, but it's okay, and if you end up skipping this video or some of it doesn't quite make sense because you haven't seen contour plots before, that's okay, and you still understand the rest of this course without those parts of it.
If you are not familiar with contour plots, or there's some of the illustration may or may not make sense to you, 即係唔明啦。But it's okay if you end up skipping this, does not quite make sense to you haven't seen, that's okay, and you will still understand the rest of this course. Yes, without this, 呢個先係重點。That's okay, and you will still understand the rest of this course without those parts of this， 係嘛？即刻減一減壓先，唔明都唔緊要啊！
Here's our problem formulation, hypothesis
parameters,
parameters, cost function, and our optimization objective. Unlike before, unlike the last video, I'm going to keep both of my parameters theta 0 and theta 1 as we generate our visualizations for the cost function. So, same as last time, we want to understand the hypothesis, h, and the cost function j. So here's my training set of housing prices, and let's make some hypothesis. Like that one. This is not a particularly good hypothesis, but if I set theta 0 equals 50 and theta 1 equals 0.06, then I end up with this hypothesis down here, and that corresponds to that straight line. Now, given these values of theta 0 and theta 1, we want to plot the corresponding, cost function on the right. What we did last time was, right, when we only had theta 1, we were drawing plots that look like this as a function of theta 1. But now we have two parameters, theta 0 and theta 1, and so the plot gets a little more complicated. It turns out that when we had only one parameter, the plots we drew had this sort of bow-shaped function. Now, when we have two parameters, it turns out the cost function also has a similar sort of bow shape. And in fact, depending on your training set, you might get a cost function that maybe looks something like this. Wow. So this is a 3D surface.
3D 嘅頭先 2D 啊，邊有咁啊？有兩個 theta 1 同 theta 0都同時有，咁就變咗 3D shape 啦，係嘛？
This plot where the axes are labeled theta 0 and theta 1. So as you vary theta 0 and theta 1, the two parameters, you get different values of the cost function j of theta 0, comma theta 1, and the height of the surface above a particular point of theta 0, theta 1, right, that's the vertical axis, the height of the surface at the point indicates the value of j of theta 0, comma j of theta 1. And you can see it sort of has this bow-like shape. Let me show you the same plot in 3D.
都唔怪得佢唔明都唔緊要。
So here's the same figure in 3D with axes theta 0, theta 1, and vertical axis j of theta 0, theta 1. And if I rotate this plot around, you kind of get a sense, I hope, of this sort of bow-shaped surface. That's what the cost function j looks like. Now, for the purpose of illustration, in the rest of this video, I'm not actually going to use these sorts of 3D surfaces to show you the cost function j. Instead, I'm going to use contour plots, or what are also called contour figures.
Contour figures.
Same thing. To show you these surfaces. So here's an example of a contour figure shown on the right, where
仲衰，呢個喂右手邊嗰個乜春嚟啊？搞到好似銀河系咁嘛！啊，中間太陽，一根地球喺度，水星、地球、月球啊咁啊，仲難明好似喂。
The axes are theta 0 and theta 1. And what each of these ovals, what each of these ellipses shows is a set of points that takes on the same value for j of theta 0, theta 1. So, concretely, for example, let's take that point and that point and that point. All three of these points that I just drew in magenta, they have the same value for j of theta 0, theta 1. Okay, right? This is the theta 0, theta 1 axis, but those three have the same value for j of theta 0, comma theta 1. And if you haven't seen contour plots much before, imagine, if you will, a bow-shaped function that's coming out of my screen, so that the minimum, so the bottom of the bow is this point right there, right, the middle of these concentric ellipses. And imagine a bow shape that sort of grows out of my screen like this, so that each of these ellipses, has the same height above my screen, and the minimum of the bow, right, is right down there. And so the contour figures is a way to, maybe a more convenient way to visualize my function j. So let's look at some examples. Over here, I have a particular point, right? And so this is with theta 0 equals maybe about 800, and theta 1 equals maybe a minus 0.15. And so this point, right, this point in red corresponds to one particular pair of values of theta 0, comma theta 1. And they correspond, in fact, to that hypothesis, right? With theta 0, it's about 800, so we just intersect the vertical axis around 800, and this is a slope of about minus 0.15. Now, this line is really not such a good fit to the data, right? This hypothesis, h of x, with these values of theta 0, theta 1, it's really not such a good fit to the data. And so you find that its cost is a value that's out here. That's pretty far from the minimum, right? So it's pretty far, this is a pretty high cost because this is just not that good a fit to the data. Let's look at some more examples. Now, here's a different hypothesis that's, still not a great fit to the data, but maybe slightly better. So here, right, that's my point. Those are my parameters, theta 0, theta 1. And so my theta 0 value, right, that's about 360, and my value for theta 1 is equal to 0. So, let's write that out. This theta 0 equals 360, theta 1 equals 0. And this pair of parameters corresponds to that hypothesis, corresponds to a flat line, right? This is h of x equals 360 plus 0 times x. So that's my hypothesis. And this hypothesis, again, has some cost, and that cost is, plotted as the height of the j function at that point. Let's look at just a couple more examples. Here's one more. At this value of theta 0, and at that value of theta 1, we end up with this hypothesis, h of x. And again, not a great fit to the data. Last example. This is actually not quite at the minimum, but it's pretty close to the minimum. So this is not such a bad fit to the data, where for a particular value of
咩 equation 中幾教？唔知好似中4啊，係嘛？唔記得晒嗰啲嘢，做乜轉咗學數唔知啊？係要教，可能佢嫌你啲如果啲數太廢啲，快啲走啊！之後你聽唔明，一定要學下數先。不過佢講多句，佢頭先一開頭都話呢個。話如果佢我睇唔明呢 part 都唔緊要嘅，即係呢隻 graphical presentation 的話。
The sum of squares errors, the sum of squares distances between my training examples and my hypothesis, really that's a sum.
係咪即係越中間嗰度就越準咁解？
This is pretty close to the minimum, even though it's not quite the minimum. So with these figures, I hope that gives you a better understanding of what values of the cost function j and how they are and how that
明明讀到中五都唔記得自己有學過，我好似有啲印象學過，但係我記得以前係有啲咁樣要 plot 啲 graph 嘅，但係真係還翻晒咯，講真。
corresponds to different hypotheses, as well as how better hypotheses may correspond to points that are closer to the minimum of this cost function j. Now, of course, what we really want is an efficient algorithm, like an efficient piece of software, for automatically finding the value of theta 0 and theta 1 that minimizes the cost function j. Right? And what we don't want to do is to, have to write software to plot out this point and then try to manually read off the numbers. That's just not a good way to do it. And in fact, we'll see later that when we look at more complicated examples, we'll have higher dimensional figures with more parameters. That it turns out we'll see later in this course examples where this figure cannot really be plotted and it becomes much harder to visualize. And so what we want is to have software to find the value of theta 0, theta 1 that minimizes this function. And in the next video, we'll start to talk about an algorithm for automatically finding that value of theta 0, theta 1 that minimizes the cost function j.
個孫咧學數已經跳咗去 degree level， 突然跳得咁快，即係啱啱一開頭仲講緊一啲好簡單啲咩 definition 啊，係嘛？但係幾條友講下 history， 跟住突然間 zoom。不過呢啲唔知咩程度嘅數啦，我諗就唔會，應該都唔會好難嘅，話晒都 week one 係嘛？啲 free course 通常都唔可能唔知我哋學啲嘢唔記得晒啫，應該。好啦。都冇乜特別嘅，因為呢課咧佢都講到明話睇唔明啲圖都唔緊要，咁我就安心 mark complete， 再去啦 parameter learning 啦，睇下 gradient descent.
We previously defined the cost function j. In this video, I want to tell you about an algorithm called gradient descent.
Gradient descent.
It turns out gradient descent is a more general algorithm and is used not only in linear regression, it's actually used all over the place in machine learning. And later in the course, we'll use gradient descent to minimize other functions as well, not just the cost function j for linear regression. So in this video, we're going to talk about gradient descent for minimizing some arbitrary function j, and then in later videos, we'll take this algorithm and apply it specifically to the cost function j that we had defined for linear regression.
我覺得呢個 course 有一個好大嘅問題就係呢個人講嘢係真係有啲悶，好悶啊！佢把聲係打橫一條線嘅。可唔可以多少抑揚頓挫？我已經好眼瞓啦，頂唔順。
So here's the problem set up. We're going to assume that we have some function j of theta 0, comma theta 1. Maybe it's the cost function from linear regression. Maybe it's some other function we want to minimize, and we want to come up with an algorithm for minimizing that as a function of j of theta 0, theta 1. Just as an aside, it turns out that gradient descent actually applies to more general functions. So imagine if you have a function that's a function of j of theta 0, theta 1, theta 2, up to, say, some theta n, and you want to minimize theta 0, you minimize over theta 0 up to theta n of this j of theta 0 up to theta n. It turns out gradient descent is an algorithm for solving this more general problem, but for the sake of brevity, for the sake of succinctness of notation, I'm just going to pretend I have only two parameters throughout the rest of this video. Here's the idea for gradient descent. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with some initial guesses for theta 0 and theta 1. Doesn't really matter what they are, but a common choice would be if we set theta 0 to 0 and set theta 1 to 0. Just initialize them to 0. What we're going to do in gradient descent is we'll keep changing theta 0 and theta 1 a little bit to try to reduce j of theta 0, theta 1 until hopefully we wind up at a minimum, or maybe at a local minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see in pictures what gradient descent does. Let's say you're trying to minimize this function. So notice the axes. This is theta 0, theta 1 on the horizontal axis, and j is the vertical axis. And so the height of the surface shows j, and we want to minimize this function. So we're going to start off with theta 0, theta 1 at some point. So imagine picking some value for theta 0, theta 1, and that corresponds to starting at some point on the surface of this function. Okay, so whatever value of theta 0, theta 1 gives you some point here. I didn't initialize them to 0, 0, but sometimes you initialize it to other values as well. Now, I want you to imagine that this figure shows a hill. Imagine this is like the landscape of some grassy park with two hills like so. And I want you to imagine that you are physically standing at that point on the hill, right, on this little red hill in your park. In gradient descent, what we're going to do is we're going to spin 360 degrees around, just look all around us and ask, if I were to take a little baby step in some direction, and I want to go downhill as quickly as possible, what direction do I take that little baby step in if I want to go down, if I sort of want to physically walk down this hill as rapidly as possible? Turns out that if you're standing at that point on the hill, and you look all around, you find that the best direction to take a little step downhill is roughly that direction. Okay? And now you're at this new point on your hill. You're going to again look all around and then say, what direction should I step in order to take a little baby step downhill? And if you do that and take another step, you take a step in that direction. And then you keep going. From this new point, you look around, decide what direction will take you downhill most quickly, take another step, and so on, until you converge to this local minimum down here. Gradient descent has an interesting property. This first time we ran gradient descent, we were starting at this point over here, right? Started at that point over here. Now imagine we had initialized gradient descent just a couple steps to the right. Imagine we initialized gradient descent with that point on the upper right. If you were to repeat this process, so start from that point, look all around, take a little step in the direction of steepest descent, you would do that. Then look around, take another step, and so on. And if you started just a couple steps to the right, gradient descent would have taken you to this second local optimum over on the right. So if you had started at this first point, you would have wound up at this local optima. But if you started just a little bit in a slightly different location, you would have wound up at a very different local optimum. And this is a property of gradient descent that we'll say a little bit more about later. So that's the intuition.
Starting point.
Let's look at the math. This is the definition of the gradient descent algorithm.
Repeats until convergence. 咁睇唔住成乜春喎，咁睇已經坐喺度，哇！乜春啊？乜simultaneously update 啊
We're going to just repeatedly do this until convergence. We're going to update my parameter theta j by taking theta j and subtracting from it alpha times this term over here. Okay? So let's see. There are a lot of details in this equation, so let me unpack some of it. First, this notation here, colon equals, I'm going to use colon equals to denote assignment. So the assignment operator. So concretely, if I write A colon equals B, what this means is it means, in a computer, this means take the value in B and use it to overwrite whatever value is A. So this means set A to be equal to the value of B. This is assignment. And I can also do A colon equals A plus 1. This means take A and increase its value by 1. Whereas in contrast, if I use the equal sign, I write A equals B, then this is a truth assertion. So if I write A equals B, then I'm asserting that the value of A equals to the value of B. Right? So the left-hand side, that's a computer operation where you set the value of A to a new value. The right-hand side, this is asserting, I'm just making a claim that the values of A and B are the same. And so whereas I can write A colon equals A plus 1, that means increment A by 1. Hopefully I won't ever write A equals A plus 1 because that's just wrong, right? A and A plus 1 can never be equal to the same values. Okay? So that's the first part of the definition. This alpha here is a number that is called the learning rate. And what alpha does is it basically controls how big a step we take downhill with gradient descent. So if alpha is very large, then that corresponds to a very aggressive gradient descent procedure where we're trying to take huge steps downhill. And if alpha is very small, then we're taking little baby steps downhill. And I'll come back and say more about this later, about how to set alpha and so on. And finally, this term here, that's a derivative term. I don't want to talk about it right now, but I will derive this derivative term and tell you exactly what this is later. Okay? And some of you will be more familiar with calculus than others, but even if you aren't familiar with calculus, don't worry about it. I'll tell you what you need to know about this term here. Now, there's one more subtlety about gradient descent.
Don't worry about
I'll derive this derivative term and tell you exactly what this is later. Okay? And some of you will be more familiar with calculus than others, but even if you aren't familiar with calculus, don't worry about it.
I'm not familiar with calculus.
Now, there's one more subtlety about gradient descent, which is in gradient descent, we're going to update, theta 0 and theta 1, right? So this update takes place for j equals 0 and j equals 1. So you can update theta 0 and update theta 1. And the subtlety of how you implement gradient descent is for this expression, right? For this update equation, you want to simultaneously update theta 0 and theta 1. What I mean by that is that, in this equation, we're going to update theta 0 colon equals theta 0 minus something, and update theta 1 colon equals theta 1 minus something. And the way to implement this is you should compute the right-hand side, right? Compute that thing for theta 0 and theta 1, and then simultaneously, at the same time, update theta 0 and theta 1. Okay, so let me say what I mean by that. This is a correct implementation of gradient descent, meaning simultaneous updates. I'm going to set temp 0 equals that, set temp 1 equals that, so basically compute the right-hand sides. And then having computed the right-hand sides and stored them into variables temp 0 and temp 1, I'm going to update theta 0 and theta 1.
係咪 for loop 嚟
This is
㗎？
a correct implementation.
我知就
Contrast, here's an
係就出
incorrect
撇價微積分
implementation
整
that
你
does
嘅
not do a
整你個掣咩？微積分我數學程度係去到加減乘除嘅啫。佢呢個係咪 for loop 啊？想講即係佢即係不斷 simultaneously update 呢個，即係不斷 assign 個新嘅 value 落去咁樣。咁啊錯，因為點啊？有分別係兩個。
simultaneous
睇先
update. That's a correct implementation.
我去到代數同幾何，咁你叻過我喎已經。代數咩叻 x 等於乜係嘛 ？cal 翻 y 咁樣。
In contrast, here's an incorrect implementation that does not do a simultaneous update. So in this incorrect implementation, we compute temp 0, and then we update theta 0, and then we compute temp 1, and then we update temp 1. And the difference between the right-hand side and the left-hand side implementations is that if you look down here, you look at this step, if by this time you've already updated theta 0, then you would be using the new value of theta 0 to compute this derivative term. And so this gives you a different value of temp 1 than the left-hand side, right? Because you've now plugged in the new value of theta 0 into this equation. And so this on the right-hand side is not a correct implementation of gradient descent. Okay? So I don't want to say why you need to do the simultaneous updates. It turns out that, the way gradient descent is usually implemented, which we'll say more about later, it actually turns out to be more natural to implement simultaneous updates. And when people talk about gradient descent, they always mean simultaneous updates.
當年都幾紅喎隻歌。
non-simultaneous update. It turns out it will probably work anyway, but this algorithm.
嗰啲中學生有創意咩？好似點唱呢？一時間唔記得點唱，但係幾正嘅，我記得。咩 sin cosine tangent 定唔知咩？記得咗。
Right, this is not what people refer to as gradient descent, and this is some other algorithm with different properties.
因為以前啲中學生讀書幾開心啦，而家啲中學生真係慘啊！
stranger ways, and so what you should do is really implement the simultaneous update of gradient descent. So,
哇，又咁突然嘅呢條開始好突然喎！佢頭幾個嗰個video 咧都好有心機。我哋嚟緊呢有一條問題乜，跟住而家直情係突擊咁樣，突然間就 stop 你，就執條嘢落嚟。OK， 睇睇先。佢應該想講呢個simultaneous update 嘅啫。咁我哋 suppose 呢個0呢1tangent 1就係2㗎嘛。OK， 咁 simultaneous update 呢個 using rule。我想resulting value 呢個係呢個，佢計咗兩個先，計咗 J 同埋即係 temp 1就 temp 2先至計呢個0同1先，係咪？咁就 J 係點計？睇一次先 skip。theta 1 theta 0 theta 1 theta 1 theta 0呢兩個唔變，前面呢度先變。OK， 係後邊兩個唔喐。B 好跟。多睇睇點樣計先。0 1 加一乘二，係咪啊？所以又冇等先，冇一條色添，唔記得條色，可唔可以 cap 低？可以 cap 低呢條色。
That's the outline of the gradient descent. Implement the simultaneous update of gradient descent. So,
一乘二 ，OK。如果呢個係一 ，J 就係一，二加二又加一乘二，因為呢個就係個 J 嗰個。我哋 results 後邊冇改，前面就改咗。好，勝你啊，勝啊 Donald Chan 嚟 B 係 submit， 耶！非常意事式手相助，我哋繼續。
So, that's the outline of the gradient descent algorithm. In the next video, we're going to go into the details of the
題解都唔講啦，佢覺得太易啦呢個。
And if you take the
太
calculus
易啊！
course
啲
with
數
your
啊，
annual
解釋
familiar
係自己
with
計
partial
嘅。
derivatives and derivatives, it turns out that's exactly what that derivative term is.
Derivative.
But in case you aren't familiar with calculus, don't worry about it. The next video will give you all the intuitions and will tell you everything you need to know to compute that derivative.
有安慰你啊！雖然有呢個 calculus 不過唔撚驚，唔撚使驚。其實照代又得，希望啦，希望之後嗰啲都係照代就得啦。我唔等你8秒，我即挑。見到有頭都痛嘅啫。有冇乜特別啦？我哋再落去挑戰呢個 gradient descent intuition 啊。頭先就係講，今次真係 intuition。
In the previous video, we gave a mathematical definition of
好，我哋又再洗個面清醒下先。瞓着未？瞓着未？呢個好悶，呢個真係。 好，啱啱用呢個水型嚟淋醒自己，一定要凍水喎，淋醒自己之後好似精神咗，可以再戰多1個鐘啊！個符號點串啊？咩個符號啊？邊個符號？邊個符號點串？你係咪講嗰條 formula 嗰個符號？咦，等陣啦。OK， 好，繼續準備好未？大家，theta係咪嗰個圓圈加1橫啊？圓圈加1點，圓圈加1點，theta應該啱啊，係 theta。好 ，go，let's go。精神，精神，精神，精神，精神，精神。
About what the algorithm is doing and why the steps of the gradient descent algorithm might make sense. Here's a gradient descent algorithm that we saw last time. And just to remind you, this parameter or this term alpha is called the learning rate, and it controls how big a step we take when updating my parameter theta j.
Learning
rate. Second term here is the derivative term.
Derivative
and what I want to do in this video is give you better intuition about what each of these two terms is doing and why, when put together, this entire update makes sense.
即係而家就講呢個 learning rates 同埋 derivatives 嗰兩嚿嘢，令到嗰個最左邊嘅 assignment 係 make sense。OK， 集中精神，精神。
In order to convey these intuitions, what I want to do is use a slightly simpler example where we want to minimize a function of just one parameter. So we have say we have a cost function j of just one parameter theta 1, like we did a few videos back, where theta 1 is a real number. Okay, so just again, so we can have 1D plots, which are a little bit simpler to look at. And let's try to understand what gradient descent will do on this function. So let's say here's my function j of theta 1. And so that's and where theta 1 is a real number. Right? Now, let's say I've initialized gradient descent with theta 1 at this location. So imagine that we start off at that point on my function. What gradient descent will do is it will update theta 1, gets updated as theta 1 minus alpha times dd theta 1 j of theta 1, right? And as an aside, this derivative term, right? If you're wondering why I changed the notation from these partial derivative symbols, if you don't know what the difference is between these partial derivative symbols and the dd theta, don't worry about it. Technically, in mathematics, we call this the partial derivative, we call this a derivative, depending on the number of parameters in the function j. But that's a mathematical technicality. So, for the purpose of this lecture, think of these partial symbols and dd theta 1 as exactly the same thing, and don't worry about whether there are any differences.
睇嚟佢呢課都係唔會講 D 嘅喎，佢應該係咯，講唔使擔心喎。咁即係點啊？咁我應該要 focus 喺邊個位啊？我唔明。When warm up theta 0 theta 1係 independent variable theta j dependent variable 個從會變只會改變 dependent variable theta j 係睇下先啊 dependent variable 個從會變好似係唔知我哋聽下 Andrew 點講，睇下佢究竟佢 mathematics 係想講啲咩先。
I'm going to try to use the mathematically precise notation, but for our purposes, these two notations are really the same thing. So let's see what this equation will do. So we're going to compute this derivative. I'm not sure if you've seen derivatives in calculus before, but what the derivative at this point does is basically saying, let's take the tangent to that point, like that straight line, that red line, is just touching this function, and let's look at the slope of this red line. That's what the derivative is. It says, what's the slope of a line that is just tangent to the function? Okay? And the slope of a line, of course, is just this height divided by this horizontal thing. Now, this line has a positive slope, so it has a positive derivative, and so my update to theta is going to be theta 1 gets updated as theta 1 minus alpha times some positive number. Okay, in alpha, the learning rate is always a positive number. And so I'm going to take theta 1 gets updated as theta 1 minus something. So I'm going to end up moving theta 1 to the left. I'm going to decrease theta 1. And you can see this is the right thing to do because I actually want to head in this direction, to get me closer to the minimum over there. So gradient descent so far seems to be doing the right thing. Let's look at another example. So let's take my same function j. Try to draw the same function j of theta 1. And now let's say I had instead initialized my parameter over there on the left. So theta 1 is here. I'm going to at that point on the surface. Now my derivative term dd theta 1 j of theta 1, when evaluated at this point, I'm going to look at the slope of that line. So this derivative term is the slope of this line. But this line is slanting down, so this line has negative slope. Right? Or alternatively, I say that this function has negative derivative, just means negative slope at that point. So this is less than or equal to 0. So when I update theta, I'm going to have theta gets updated as theta minus alpha times a negative number. And so I have theta 1 minus a negative number, which means I'm actually going to increase theta, right? Because this is minus of a negative number. It means I'm adding something to theta. And what that means is that I'm going to end up increasing theta. And so I'm going to start here and increase theta, which again seems like the thing I wanted to do to try to get me closer to the minimum. So this hopefully explains the intuition behind what the derivative term is doing. Let's next take a look at the learning rate term alpha and try to figure out what that's doing. So here's my gradient descent update rule, right? It's this equation. And let's look at what could happen if alpha is either too small or if alpha is too large. So in this first example, what happens if alpha is too small? So here's my function j of theta. Let's say I start here. If alpha is too small, then what I'm going to do is going to multiply my update by some small number. So I end up taking like a baby step like that. Okay, so that's one step learning step. Then from this new point, I'm going to take another step, but if alpha is too small, I'm going to take another little baby step. And so if my learning rate is too small, I'm going to end up, taking these tiny, tiny baby steps to try to get to the minimum, and I'm going to need a lot of steps to get to the minimum. So alpha is too small.
原來有 emoji 係咩啊？聲嚟睇下個 emoji，就係呢個啊，就係呢個就係個 emoji 啊。
Gradient descent can be slow because it's going to take these tiny, tiny baby steps, and so it's going to need a lot of steps before it gets anywhere close to the goal.
但係大可能會過咗龍
Now, how about if alpha is too large?
兜嘢彈咗去過埋。
Turns out, if alpha is too large, then gradient descent can overshoot the minimum and may even fail to converge or even diverge. So here's what I mean. Let's say I start off with there. It's actually pretty close to minimum. So the derivative points to the right, but if alpha is too big, I'm going to take a huge step. I'm going to take a huge step like that. Right? So I end up taking a huge step. And now my cost function has actually gotten worse because I start off with this value, but now my value has actually gotten worse.
佢而家都係講個 relationship 嘅，好似都冇好 mathematics 嘅，佢而家講
all the way out there, so I end up going out there, right? And if my learning is too big, I can take another huge step on the next iteration and kind of overshoot and so on until you notice I'm actually getting further and further away from the minimum. And so if alpha is too large, it can fail to converge or even diverge. Now, I have another question for you. So this is a tricky one, and when I was first learning this stuff, it actually took me a long time to figure this out. What if your parameter theta 1 is already at a local minimum? What do you think? This is a tricky one, and when I was first learning this stuff, it actually took me a long time to figure this out. What if your parameter theta 1 is already at a local minimum? What do you think one step of gradient descent will do?
如果已經係 local minimum one step 會點樣？係嘛？有冇理解錯？原來佢有文字版。Suppose 已經係 local optimum， 有另一個 local optimum 喺度，呢個 local optimum 喺度，已經係 local optimum shown in the figure。What will one step of gradient 呢個 to current value 已經喺呢度啦。One step 呢個 step A 唔會喐 ，B 隨機喐 ，C Move in the direction of the global minimum， 即係向呢邊喐，向呢個方向喐。D decrease 細咗 ，decrease 即係再落，冇可能啊！第四個都冇可能發生喎。點睇 ？First derivative 係曲線上一點的斜率。First derivative 係曲線上一點嘅斜率。即係邊個？邊個 first？ 唔識鳩估 C， 你係覺得係 C？ 唔知點解我覺得係 unchanged， 等諗一諗先。不過頭先我聽到一句説話，令我感到安慰。嗰條友話：我啱啱學嘅時候咧，都花咗好多時間去理解嘅，即係又要氹鳩啲靚仔咧。唔緊要嘅，我啱啱學嗰陣咧都要好耐先搞得清呢個概念嘅，即係等你自我感覺良好。阿 Donald Chan 就話 A， 我記得 Donald 就唔知點解，一係諗到 Donald Trump， 一係諗到 Donald 曾。阿 Donald， 我而家我 visualize 咗你個樣係 Trump 或者係阿曾生，係 A 啊 ，A 定 C 咧？我諗下先，我又諗下先。One step， 呢得兩嚿嘢啫，呢嚿同呢嚿。skip 去睇睇先，睇多條。A 就會影響嗰個幅度 ，B 就係影響嗰個方向，唔係 D 就影響方向。
Step a gradient descent will do。
呢個減呢個，呢個係影響嗰個 gradient 啊，咪影響嗰個即係有幾遠啊嘛？呢個就係影響嗰個方向左定右啦，即係逐啲講就睇下向邊行。但係已經到咗喎，因為 optimum。咁咪減呢嚿嘢，B 我覺得 B 我說服唔到自己嘅，點樣 random direction mathematics 應該唔會 random direction 嘅喎。因為佢，譬如頭先 overshoot 嗰啲，佢翻轉頭噶嘛，錯方向即係會翻轉頭噶嘛。咁佢已經到咗啦，即係佢唔會係咯。我如果交估啊，我都就似 A， 唔識就 C。有人跟，有人識就跟，唔識就 C。嗱，我 A， 我試下 A 先。係嘛？睇下 A 定 C 啊？睇下係 A 喎 ，A 喎，我哋聽聽啊，唔蛇睇下講咩先。
So let's suppose you initialize theta 1 at a local minimum. So
係 Donald 爭贏咗今次係 optimum 個 slope 就應該係零啊，即係個 tangent 係零啊嘛。係喎，optimum 佢有 tangent 打橫一條線咯。之前唔到就咁樣，佢翻轉頭啊，向呢度。你咁樣呢度，佢嗰個 D 就細過零，又向呢邊行。咁個 tension 都要打橫，已經打橫，係喎，咁就唔行咯，係咪呢？咁你呢度唔行，咁你個 race 幾大幾細都冇影響，係嘛？咁樣。
Suppose this is your initial value of theta 1 over here, and is already at a local optimum, at a local minimum. It turns out at local optimum, your derivative will be equal to 0. So let's look at that slope, right? It's that tangent.
d over 呢個 d theta 係零啊。
Point. So the slope of this line will be equal to 0.
哦
And thus, this derivative term is equal to 0.
哦
And so in your gradient descent update, you have theta 1 gets updated as theta 1 minus alpha times 0. And so what this means is that
咁乘零啊，點
if
都
you're
零
already
啦
at the
梗
local
係
optimum, it leaves theta 1 unchanged. Because, this updates theta 1 equals theta 1. So if your parameter is already at the local minimum, one step of gradient descent does absolutely nothing. It doesn't change the parameter, which is what you want, because it keeps your solution at the local optimum. This also
O.K. 即係佢唔蛇嘅意思係話，如果去到呢度 optimum local optimum 咧 ，tangent 就係 slope 等於零，咁呢嚿嘢咧就係等於零。咁呢嚿嘢乘零就一定係零啦，咁啊減零就即係 unchanged 咁啊。根據呢條友嘅講法
at
就
the
咁。
local optimum. This also explains why gradient descent can converge to local minimum even with the learning rate alpha fixed. Here's what I mean by that. Let's look at an example. So here's a cost function j of theta that maybe I want to minimize. And let's say I initialize my algorithm, my gradient descent algorithm, out there at that magenta point. If I take one step of gradient descent, maybe it'll take me to that point because my derivative is pretty steep out there, right? Now I'm at this green point, and if I take another step of gradient descent, you notice that my derivative, meaning the slope, is less steep at the green point than compared to at the magenta point out there. Right? Because as I approach the minimum, my derivative gets closer and closer to 0 as I approach the minimum. So after one step of gradient descent, my new derivative is a little bit smaller. So when I take another step of gradient descent, I will naturally take a somewhat smaller step from this green point than I get from the magenta
small
point.
steps no need to
Now I'm at
decrease
a new point, the red point.
呢個 over time。本身 slope 冇咁 steep 就會成一個細啲嘅數，所以就自慢咗，所以就唔需要 decrease over time。
And then now even closer to global minimum. So the derivative here will be even smaller than it was at the green point. So when I take another step of gradient descent, now my derivative term is even smaller. And so the magnitude of the update to theta 1 is even smaller. So take a small step like so. And as gradient descent runs, you will automatically take smaller and smaller steps until eventually you're taking very small steps, and you finally converge to the local minimum. So just to recap, in gradient descent, as we approach a local minimum, gradient descent will automatically take smaller steps. And that's because as we approach the local minimum, by definition, the local minimum is when this derivative is equal to 0. So as we approach the local minimum, this derivative term will automatically get smaller, and so gradient descent will automatically take smaller steps. So this is what gradient descent looks like, and so actually no need to decrease alpha over time.
Sorry.
So that's the gradient descent
Why?
algorithm, and you can use it to try to minimize any cost function j, not the cost function j that we defined for linear regression. In the next video, we're going to take the function j and set that back to be exactly linear regression's cost function,
yes,
the squared cost function that we came up with earlier. And taking gradient descent and the squared cost function and putting them together, that will give us our first learning algorithm. That will give us our linear regression
就
algorithm.
係落堂啦，就係落堂啦，仲爭少少嘅。Start 睇下少少啲 recap 啊。repeat until convergence 個 optimum 啦 ，repeat 呢個。咁頭先咧，我哋學咗就 tangent 啦，呢個係個 slope 啦，呢嚿就係呢個alpha 就係嗰個咩 rate 就 learning rate 啊。咁就如果呢個喺呢邊咧，就大個零咧就會向呢邊落嘅。咁樣呢邊咧細個零咧，咁就會減 negative。所以就加，所以就向呢邊啦。就 learning rate 就講太大太細嗰啲啦。然後就講如果點去 optimum 會點喐咧，就係唔喐嘅。呢個 slope 係零，呢個 d 係零咧，咁啊乘零又係零啦。跟住就最尾就講 learning rate 咧 ，fix 呢個嗰個會點講？即係 alpha fix 咧，佢呢度都會個 step 咧都會越細嘅，因為咧個 slope 冇咁斜啦。 有冇成一嚿細啲嘅數咧？咁我每一個 step 都越嚟越細。好，就係咁好。go 下一個，仲有一條片啊，應該 week one 仲有一條。
In previous videos, we talked about the
之前咪有張圖左右跳咧，佢就係靠個縮正負改變收細個誤差，睇睇先。呢個佢唔係話越跳越遠咧？呢個唔係話越跳越遠咩？咁樣跳唔係咁樣跳咗上格出街咩？呢個係咪？因為接近個 main 嘅 slope 會不停接近零啊。因為接近個 mean 接近呢個 optimum 呢個 slope 就會不停接近零，會平咗，即係越嚟越個 slope 越嚟越扁啊，越嚟越扁，越嚟越平啊。港女最驚呢啲，越嚟越平啊，咁大鑊。不過 so far 佢都係解釋啲 math 咯，就唔使我哋計 math 咯。可能 week one 都係叫做了解下嗰啲背後原理，rather than好數學堂咯，所以都仲頂得順，雖然好惡頂。好，我哋去下一個 video 啦。Let's go 最尾一個 figure。
In previous videos, we talked
跟
about
住已經係 reading 最後一個 figure。
gradient descent algorithm, and we talked about the linear regression model and the squared error cost function. In this video, we're going to put together gradient descent with our cost function, and that will give us an algorithm for linear regression, for fitting a straight line to our data.
佢部機咧，想講真係算啦，唔好嘥時間，部機真係好慘。
So this was what we worked out in the previous videos. There's our gradient descent algorithm, which should be familiar, and here's the linear regression model with our linear hypothesis and our squared error cost function. What we're going to do is apply gradient descent to minimize our squared error cost function. Now, in order to apply gradient descent, in order to write this piece of code, the key term we need is this derivative term over here. So you need to figure out what is this partial derivative term, and plugging in the definition of the cost function j, this turns out to be this, sum from I equals 1 through n of this squared error cost function term. And all I did here was I just plugged in the definition of the cost function there. And simplifying a little bit more, this turns out to be equal to this, sum from I equals 1 through n of theta 0
哭撚咗，見佢咁樣 proof 條數，
minus yi squared. And all I did there was I
都
took
幾
the
羨慕啲人
definition
數
of
學
my
叻啫。
hypothesis and plugged it in there. And turns out we need to figure out what is this partial derivative for two cases, for j equals 0 and for j equals 1. So we want to figure out what is this partial derivative for both the theta 0 case and the theta 1 case. And I'm just going to write out the answers. It turns out this first term is simplifies to 1 over m, sum from over my training set of just that, xi.
變咗 one over m 嘅。
I. And for this term, partial derivative with respect to theta 1, it turns out I get this term, minus yi times xi. Okay? And computing these partial derivatives, so that, going from this equation, right, going from this equation to either of the equations down there, computing those partial derivative terms requires some multivariate calculus. If you know calculus, feel free to work through the derivations yourself and check that if you take the derivatives, you actually get the answers that I got. But if you are less familiar with calculus, don't worry about it, and it's fine to just take these equations that were worked out, and you won't need to know calculus or anything like that in order to do the homework or to implement gradient descent and get that to work.
You don't need to know calculus 啊，係咪？我睇下佢個咩先。If you're less familiar with calculus, don't worry. Just fine to take this equation that we work out, and you won't need to know calculus or anything like that in order to do your homework. So let's implement. Just implement. You only need to implement.
But so armed with these definitions, or armed with what we worked out to be the derivatives, which is really just the slope of the cost function j, we can now plug them back into our gradient descent algorithm. So here's gradient descent for linear regression. We're just going to repeat until convergence. Theta 0 and theta 1 get updated as this thing minus alpha times the derivative term. So this term here. So here's our linear regression algorithm. This first term here.
Linear regression algorithm 呢嚿嘢。
That term is, of course, just the partial derivative with respect to theta 0 that we worked out on the previous slide. And this second term here, that term is just the partial derivative with respect to theta 1 that we worked out on the previous slide. And just as a quick reminder, you must, when implementing gradient descent, there's actually this detail that you should be implementing it so that you update theta 0 and theta 1 simultaneously. So let's see how gradient descent works. One of the issues we saw with gradient descent is that it can be susceptible to local optima. So when I first explained gradient descent, I showed you this picture of it, going downhill on the surface, and we saw how depending on where you initialize it, you can end up at different local optima. You end up, here or here. But it turns out that the cost function for linear regression is always going to be a bow-shaped function like this. The technical term for this is that this is called a convex function.
Convex bow-shaped 係你 convex.
I'm not going to give the formal definition for what is a convex function, C-O-N-V-E-X, but informally, a convex function means a bow-shaped function, kind of like a bow-shaped. And so this function doesn't have any local optima except for the one global optimum. And thus gradient descent on this type of cost function, which
我哋考下你啦 ，convex 調翻轉係咩啊？嗱，bow-shape 如果反轉個碗，我哋叫咩 function？ 考下你。 答啱有呢個掌聲5下，嗰個係 summation 啊，嗰個好似 M 嗰個嘢 summation， 即係加埋晒佢。經過 min 嘅 slope 就會由負去正 ，max 由正去負，最後跳 slope 要絕對值，確保佢幫佢收晒接近零。
you get whenever you're using linear regression, it will always converge to the global optimum because there are no other local optima other than the global optimum. So now let's see this algorithm in action. As usual, here are plots of the hypothesis function and of my cost function j. And so let's say I've initialized my parameters at this value. Let's say usually you initialize your parameters at 0, 0, theta 0, theta 1 equals 0. But for illustration, in this particular implementation of gradient descent, I've initialized theta 0 at about 900 and theta 1 at about minus 0.1. Okay, and so this corresponds to h of x equals minus 900 minus 0.1x. Is this line? So out here on the cost function. Now, if we take one step of gradient descent, we end up going from this point out here, a little bit to the down and left, to that second point over there, and you notice that my line changed a little bit. And as I take another step of gradient descent, my line on the left will change, right? And I've also moved to a new point on my cost function. And as I take further steps of gradient descent, I'm going down in cost, right? So my parameters are sort of following this trajectory. And if you look on the left, this corresponds to hypotheses that, seem to be getting to be better and better fits to the data until eventually I've now wound up at the global minimum, and this global minimum corresponds to this hypothesis, which gives me a good fit to the data. And so that's gradient descent, and we've just run it and gotten a good fit to my data set of housing prices, and you can now use it to predict, if your friend has a house that costs of size 1250 square feet, you can now read off the value and tell them that, I don't know, maybe they can get $250,000 for their house. Finally, just to give this another name, it turns out that the algorithm that we just went over is sometimes called batch gradient descent. And it turns out in machine learning, I don't know, I feel like us machine learning people, we're not always great at giving names to our algorithms. But the term batch gradient descent means that refers to the fact that in every step of gradient descent, we're looking at all of the training examples. So in gradient descent, when computing the derivatives, we're computing these sums, right? This sum of. So in every step of gradient descent, we end up computing something like this that sums over all m training examples. And so the term batch gradient descent refers to the fact that we're looking at the entire batch of training examples. And again, this is really maybe not a great name, but this is what machine learning people call it. And it turns out that there are sometimes other versions of gradient descent that are not batch versions, but that instead do not look at the entire training set, but look at small subsets of the training set at a time. And we'll talk about those versions later in this course as well. But for now, using the algorithm you just learned about, or using batch gradient descent, you now know how to implement gradient descent for the
佢準備彈問題喺度，哇，捉到佢。咁突然 ，Which of the following are true statements? Select all that apply. A. To make gradient descent coverage, converge. Sorry, we must slowly decrease alpha over time. No, 因為 D 佢個 slope 自己越嚟越 flat 都唔需要 decrease 啦，所以1我覺得係 false statement 嘅。B. Gradient descent is guaranteed to find the global minimum of any function j. To find the global minimum for any function. No? 可能揾到 local minimum 就未必揾到 global 嘅喎，係嘛？呢個我唔肯定，再睇埋先。C. Gradient descent can converge even if alpha is kept fixed, but alpha cannot be too large or else it may be. Agree 呢個同意嘅，因為佢已經講嗰個例子有 fixed， 但佢慢慢 D 會越嚟越個 slope 越嚟越 flat， 佢就已經會慢慢收窄，所以唔需要喐個learning rate 已經 OK， 所以應該係 yes 嘅。True. For the specific choice of cost function used in linear regression, there are no local optima other than the global optima. There are no local 有 local optima 啊嘛 other than the global. For the specific choice of using linear 有應該有，所以呢個應該 no。但係呢個 B 係咪呢？ B 係咪點睇？好似 loop for loop 咁，有冇話逢星期幾開 live？其實有嘅，話我就想13、13、5、6咁樣咯。不過我通常都偷懶嘅，13、5，例如13、5、6會見到我1-2次咯。13、5、6係咯，入埋谷咯。我哋其實有個Discord 嘅 group 㗎，有冇興趣入嚟？我哋通常都會討論啲比較有意義嘅嘢啦，比如今日有啲咩八卦嘢啊，最近邊個女星有啲咩醜聞啊，通常我哋都討論呢方面嘅。睇下先，點樣邀請？邀請我貼喺 YouTube 個 chat box 度，都會傾下 programming 嘅。咦，條 link 錯嘅，等陣都會傾下 programming 嘅。邀請其他人應複製，不過就唔好 expect 我哋啲人好撚勁咯，新手局嚟，係啊。B 係咪啊 ？Is guaranteed to find the global minimum for any function。通常咧，你以我啲考試嘅啲 skill 啲補習天王嗰啲咧，通常咧會教你講到好死嗰啲，通常都唔係，除非你識個題係嘛 ？guaranteed 啊 ，for any 啊，即係講到咁咩咧，通常都唔啱。大家點睇啊？我2.4原來，我係10 米啊嘛。this will be 呢題，呢題啱原來，點解嘅？ 點解嘅有錯啊 ？For the specific choice of cost function 啊，no 個添啊。Specific choice of cost function 即係點樣咧？睇嚟我哋 miss 咗啲嘢，唔係我 miss 咗啲嘢。submit 啊 submit 偷計 submit 啊啱嘅。點解咧？我哋一陣間最尾睇下 review， 睇下乜位置有 specific 嘅咩 function。
Linear regression with gradient descent. If you've seen advanced linear algebra before, so some of you may have taken a class in advanced linear algebra, you might know that there exists a solution for numerically solving for the minimum of the cost function j without needing to use an iterative algorithm like gradient descent. Later in this course, we'll talk about that method as well, that just solves for the minimum of the cost function j without needing just multiple steps of gradient descent. That other method is called the normal equations method, but in case you've heard of that method, it turns out that gradient descent will scale better to larger data sets than that normal equation method. And now that we know about gradient descent, we'll be able to use it in lots of different contexts, and we'll use it in lots of different machine learning problems as well. So, congrats on learning about your first machine learning algorithm. We'll later have exercises in which we'll ask you to implement gradient descent and hopefully see these algorithms work for yourselves. But before that, I first want to tell you, in the next set of videos, I first want to tell you about a generalization of the gradient descent algorithm that will make it much more powerful. And I guess I'll tell you about that.
佢淫笑嘅咧，幾開心，終於落堂起食飯啦！佢應該我哋睇埋一啲 reading 啦，即係最後嘅 summarize 啦。哇！一嚟就咁複雜嘅 reading gradient descent for 呢啲繼續嘅。When specifically applied to the case of linear regression, new form of gradient descent equation can be derived. We can substitute 上嚟，對。睇先。Simply gradient descent on the original cost function. J. This method looks at every example in the entire training set on every step. Batch. While it can be susceptible to local minima in general, the optimization problem we have posed here for this one has only one global and no other local optima。即係頭先佢最尾個 option 就係呢個意思啊嘛。Thus, gradient doesn't always converge to global minimum, assuming the learning rate outwards not too large， 即係揾到啦，太大跳上去。This J is a convex。不過呢 part 我唔係太明嘅，點為之？點為之 batch gradient descent 都係有啲不解，睇下仲有冇啲additional reading 提供嘅 lecture line 20 minutes 應該係 lecture 2， 咦 lecture 2係下一堂啊定咩？咦即係下一堂咯喎 lecture 2係嘛 ？Review this is the lecture line used for this units， 即係我哋咪完咗 lecture 1啊叫做係咯，呢個 linear algebra 應該係 lecture 2嗰啲 matrix properties review。好啦 so far 我哋今晚都完成咗lecture 1啦，但唔知大家有咩感覺？我就覺得好痛苦嘅，好難啊！再加上我係冇瞓到覺咁，唔知做乜，黐線完全瞓唔着，瞓咗真正瞓着我諗兩個鐘至3個鐘咗。之後就話我個腦咧而家上咗嚟上高好似諗嘢， 喺呢個頂呢個位。24分，我係30分收台嘛？點解仲有10個人喺度？你哋係瞓着咗定咩事啊？我係30分收台，我哋臨收台之前聽一隻興奮少少嘅歌曲，即係要提神啦。都係照舊係播高登 Age 呢排咩？高登 Age 我幾中意聽呢排。Golden Age。Initial D。我哋播少少歌曲啦。仲有邊 part 應該要溫習翻呢？我覺得就係全部。有啲 concept 都明嘅，但係其實有好多都係一知半解，比如有啲乜 proof 啊。不過好彩就話佢自己就話唔需要識 proof 啦。咁我信佢先啦咁樣。因為如果我即係要花時間要學識點樣 proof 呢條嘢咧，我諗都嘥咗幾個月㗎啦。咁啊無謂搞咁多，學啲 implication 嗰啲算。成個 course 其實做啲咩學先？我哋而家 week 1 total 嘅 week，total week 11係咪？total week 11定 week 12喺度 end 啫，11至12個星期左右啦。即係我哋而家先完咗 week 1已經係好痛苦嘅，同埋 quiz 竟然係唔啱晒啊！好差啦，勁 estimate time 2 hours and week 1， 咦唔係喎，原來 week 1未完喎，我哋仲有 linear algebra 喎，仲有1個鐘頭嘅 video labs 喎，又未完咗，我哋下次再做啊，完埋 week 1嘅啦，做咗一半先，因為我再睇埋呢個 video 咧，我肯定我係瞓住睇嘅 ，within 24 minutes， 係啦嚇。星期我哋約定第一星期3晚再睇呢個 linear algebra。後面應該最好嘅呢個 machine learning 嘅 course， 因為免費嚟講可能最好嘅。呢啲 algebra 做啲咩學咧？偷睇 week 2，你 lock 咗唔俾睇住，唔俾睇 lock 咗。睇 course info 先。Will full syllabus week 1。我哋睇 week 2 with multiple variable。Oh my god！ 即係 linear regression 唔會咁快完住嘅。跟住有啲咩 optic 咗，佢強烈推介嘅一個咩嚟嘅？Logistic regression, regularization, neural network 識唔熟嘅？自己見過，我哋做 lead 嗰陣時見過 neural network learning, advice for applied machine learning。睇下到底頂到 week 幾啊就死亡 ，week 1已經死死地啦，已經話好掂啊。Initial D。我聽到一隻歌嚟收台，最後一隻睇 有咩歌好歌獻給你先？啊呢隻啦都係啫，春來覺得好好聽。睇呢個先，再見，拜拜。星期三晚 Machine Learning 上埋 Week 1第2個 lecture，拜拜 ，Good night。